How is that?
No, it's just.
Stephen,
our
we haven't
regular
started yet. I
monuments.
see you're in here, just letting you know.
You didn't take a picture of it, did you?
Thanks.
Yesterday, yes.
Okay, we're unmuted and recording.
Chelsea has
The
pictures.
entrance, I saw that. Yeah, I know that.
What? I'm here, sorry.
All right, so we'll all stand up for the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we'll go ahead and have roll call. So in attendance, we have Bob, Doug, myself, Ed, and Carol. I need a motion for approval of the final agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I've got tabled to the next.
Okay, so,
Is this the same one that's been delayed twice?
No,
no, last name is different.
All the names look the same.
yeah.
We did, you need to amend it for the exhibited that,
It's a couple things. Sorry, I left my other one at the house. You just addressed 5A.
Yes.
5A is to the next meeting. And then
Just on that, would it be easier if we just did that once a month as opposed to every board meeting, like our recognitions for the local students?
that's your preference. We can change it to once a month.
I think it might
I
be easier
think-
if we
I
do it
think
like
once a
first
month
meeting or
might-
the second meeting of the month.
Okay.
Just bring them all in and.
Okay,
yeah.
we'll move
I
those
agree.
to once a month. The other thing, I don't know if you want to take up, where'd it go? The 11D after the public hearing, depending on your decision at the public hearing.
I think that timing
That would be
makes
appropriate.
more sense.
Okay, so if we just want to move,
Premature doing 11D and.
Yeah.
Here you go.
yeah,
Make it 15.
yeah, we'll make it, we'll just
15B?
take it up after,
So you make it 15B?
16B is where.
About 15B.
sure,
Yeah.
15B. for-
15B as in boy.
Yes. And then, Tony, did you want to address the D, the termination? G, I mean?
Yeah, there was no paperwork on that.
I know.
Hey,
We're still drafting it.
Yeah, if you want to take, during the board meeting, you may want to take a brief recess to read that. Basically, we've been working since last Friday. We had a conference call, Chelsea, myself, representatives of RWA and Kimley Horn, to go over the various issues with regards to the landscape architectural services. And the determination was made to have a, I'll call it friendly parting, friendly termination. And so on Monday, I prepared the initial draft of the mutual termination agreement, circulated it, received some comments back, I think late Tuesday, early Wednesday. Chelsea got some additional
Our
comments.
irrigation contract?
Landscape architect, yeah, it's irrigation.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
We'll go into it.
So I
Trying to
think,
figure out what happened.
yeah, I mean, the question is, do you want to move it up? Or, I still think we should provide the opportunity for the board to read it. So we had a few nits we were taking care of today.
Yeah.
We can walk you through the substantive matters after you've read it.
We can take a recess of 5 minutes and
Yeah.
read it and then reconvene.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Do we have a set time for the public hearing?
yes, 5.
So,
Or soon thereafter, as can be heard.
So if we've got time, we can do it in between too, I think.
I was gonna say, if we have a break,
Yep,
then we can just move it and address it after either before the public hearing.
okay. All right. That's, if you can just approve the final agenda with those amendments, please.
Well, we already made a motion and we already,
I'll make a motion to amend the final agenda to move item 11D to 15B.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Go ahead and move to public comment.
None.
Okay. Advisory.
That's 2 meetings in a row.
Shh, don't say anything.
Yeah.
Did I jinx it?
I'll move on accepting the non-existent
I was gonna say, I didn't
Reports.
see anything.
Parks and Rec and also PPCA, since neither of them supplied them, which I was kind of disappointed in, but
Peggy was gonna dial in today
we'll move to accept that.
She was gonna give an oral report, but she's taking care of some family stuff and she wasn't able to be on, so.
Maybe we could encourage them to do it every month.
We do.
Because I really enjoy reading those.
Yeah, we do. She said she'll
We
do 2
learn a
months
little
next
bit.
time.
I do.
So your motion is?
Just to accept the item the way it is.
Okay, I'll second that.
In favor?
Aye.
All right. Approval of minutes?
Move to approve agenda items 8A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, all minutes.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Consent agenda items.
Move on its consent agenda items 9A and B.
I'll second
I have
that.
no questions.
I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Tetra Tech.
Stephen is online.
All right.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone.
A lot of stuff to scroll through, hang on.
All right,
Those
for our
letters get
task,
smaller and smaller.
Because you add more tasks.
yeah, we're whittling some down as we're going along here. First up is irrigation enforcement improvements. This is a project that's been designed already, and we have secured SRF funding for the irrigation and force main, but we are holding out initiating the project in hopes of getting some grant funding from HMGP or CDBG, which we're kind of on their timeline. So this is kind of just like hanging out here for now until we get some news from HMGP or the other funding agency. FY25 Lake Bank construction. Met Tower did start on Lake 75 and 81 in Daniels Preserve. They've placed all of the fill on Lake 75. It hasn't been graded yet, and they've started placing the fill on Lake 81. Their contract time puts them around June to finish that up, and they're making pretty good progress at this rate. So that should not be an issue. Fingers crossed the rains will stay at bay for a little bit longer. Lake Bank Restoration HMGP, we're on schedule to deliver our final design in April to meet the HMGP schedule at that time. I'll go through the HMGP process for their review, and we'll have to answer any questions they may have while they're reviewing it. Pelican Preserve, 43 repairs. The contractor has placed all the fill, graded the lake bank, and they started installing sod. So I was speaking to Wyatt earlier today, and he said everything looks good so far. Hopefully they'll be able to get the sod down over the next few days. Pelican Preserve Boulevard Mill and Overlay. We received some minor comments from Chelsea, and we've made those changes. She's asked us to start working on a right-of-way permit ahead of selecting a contractor. And we're still working through how we're going to bid that project after Easter for the construction. The soccer complex parking expansion. That one, Lee County is currently reviewing our development order application. And for South Florida, we received our first RAI, and we are currently responding to that one. Public Works building relocation. We are currently responding to both RAIs for Lee County and South Florida. Commons Park and Admin building. The contractor is sticking to their schedule to be substantially complete in August.
When you say substantially complete, what does that mean to you? So I thought August was their date, so I was expecting complete by August.
Substantially complete means that it's working, but there might be some punch list items. So touch-ups or
Okay.
fixing X, Y, Z.
Small
lot of
thing,
money.
okay.
Yeah. CCTV storm. Our contractor APS is working right now in Stony Brook. They're approximately 60% complete with their contract. Griffin Drive sidewalk, tree line sidewalk, these are new projects. We've just got them set up and we're coordinating with the surveyor to get out there to do the field work for us.
What's the
Gravity
scope on-
rehab.
One second. What's the scope on the Griffin Drive sidewalk?
Connecting from the school all the way up to Timber Marsh Court, the first neighborhood right past us.
Tree line?
Tree line is the missing piece from Winn-Dixie
C5
to
Winn-Dixie.
C5.
Okay, Pelican side.
Just
Yeah,
west side.
okay, yeah. All right.
On the west side of tree line. Gravity rehab is a project that came out of the CCTV project for sewer. We're going to put together a bid package or packages to repair all the deficiencies that were found as part of that project. So that one's also brand new. So we've just started working on it. GIS support services for the water, sewer, and the irrigation. We have gone through all the record drawings and the district's GIS, and we've worked with staff to kind of smooth everything out and polish that and get it back into Cartograph for staff to be able to use so they can produce work orders or work on work orders through that. We're also working on updating the GIS for all of the meter boxes. We're also working on updating all of the stormwater GIS based on record drawings. We've received the aerator information and are updating the GIS accordingly. And we are also tasked with building an HOA ID map that will be used for the public. And development updates. Daniels Parkway Apartments, we are waiting for their hopefully last submittal in the coming days. I think we've worked through a lot of the comments with them, so I'm not expecting a lot of issues, but we'll see when they hopefully submit to us pretty soon. Santa Luz, I think we're still on hold. I'll let Tony speak to that one. Kale Palone, this is an older project. We haven't really seen this one in it's been a couple of years, but I think this one's going to come back to the board for approval in a couple of meetings. Grace Community School, we got our first submittal. Comments are due tomorrow, so we're going to work with staff and Tony to get that turned around to the developer. And Garrett FM, the Alta rezone. Most of the utilities have been completed. They're going to work on the connection to Gateway Boulevard, I believe tomorrow, and why it's been out there, making punch lists as they continue construction efforts. And that's all for my updates. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Ed has some questions.
Stephen, I noticed on the report for the sanitary sewer that there was a service line connection in Fairway Lakes Office Park. Was that to the fire station or was that to this school that has to be repaired? Because neither one of them, they're basically T's for a vacant lot. Which one's the one that's damaged?
I know what you're talking about because we pulled it up in a meeting several weeks ago. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's to one of the vacant lots that was going to be the fire station, maybe.
Okay. Okay. I
Either
just
way,
wanted to
I
make sure.
think that, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if it was the one for the school. That fire station's up in the air. Nobody knows what the hell's going on with it. The other one, Kale Pilone, everybody is asking me, calling me, asking what's going on out there. The work that they're doing is all associated with the wetland. Is that not correct?
I can't answer that question.
Right down in the corner.
Do what?
Is that the
Yes.
one?
Yeah, down in the corner. Yeah, everybody's thinking that project of those 220 apartments is getting ready to start. And I said, I don't think so. I think it's a timing issue that they had a permit that they had to start on by the end of March.
Yes, that is correct.
That's the issue.
The DEP
They're
clearing,
they're not,
they're not starting
doing anything
construction.
else.
Correct.
okay. that's
They're
what I've
actually
been
going to be
telling
coming
everybody.
back in front of you because we never received the bond. And the last time it came in front of the board, it was the board's approval contingent upon district council's final review and approval. And we looked back at all of our records and it was never done. So in order to bring it back and freshen everybody's mind,
Start all over.
not necessarily all over, but come back in front of this board, being that you are the standing board, the sitting board. And then also they are going to be asking for a waiver of the bond, similar to what North Haven did.
And the other one is, Stephen, I walked, that was a dangerous deal I did. Pulled the car over and I walked from basically the shopping center there at Tree Line down the deal of where I thought would be the right of way of the sidewalk. Where are you going to put that sidewalk? On sky hooks?
Yeah, I'm not super excited about that one either because we've got a swale to work with and there's light poles and
You got drainage, light poles,
Yeah.
landscaping.
I
know.
know further in
The
than
only
where
thing-
they built it.
Well, the thing is that
North.
the sidewalk that's further down is basically 5 feet off
On
the
the
road.
road.
If they do
Yeah.
that again, man, that's dangerous. That's really
That's one of the reasons we're
dangerous.
looking at the study, because we want it further from the road.
But the further
More
you
on
go
the
from the
resident
road,
side.
the more expensive it gets because of the collateral damage that's going to be involved. But do we have any preliminary layout of what this sidewalk's going to look like? I can see this sidewalk being one
Other than a
expensive
line that says
sidewalk.
they're required to do it, no.
Other than what?
Other than a line in the development order that says it must be completed. That's
Okay.
about it. Because I was disappointed where they put it for C5. As far as I'm concerned, it's too close to the road.
It's way too close to that
Yeah.
road.
Coach Tech's got their work out.
Yep.
Okay, that's all I had. Thanks, Steve.
Nothing else for Steve?
Yeah, just two quick questions. With our GIS, do you know what software is being used for that?
I believe the GIS system that we're building is ArcGIS, and then it's getting plugged. If Austin or Bill's on, they can answer this better than I can, but I believe it's getting converted or plugged into Cartograph, which
That's correct.
is what
Cartograph-
staff
Cartograph-
uses.
Cartograph is the asset management system, but the GIS is ArcGIS
And where are we hosting that? We're housing the,
on its own server.
2 places. One is here,
when you say on its own server, so we house it
one is here
partially in-house.
with Austin, right?
We have, it's on its own server.
And we also have the contract over at
Passarella.
Passarella.
Pelican has theirs. We're incorporating all of the Pelican assets into our GIS. And then that way we have one GIS system.
But the Pelican one is being hosted by Passarella. We're not,
Correct.
we're
So
just getting their
We're
data to
gonna,
put into our
we're just gonna
system.
copy, is
Yeah.
that what you're saying?
Yes.
Copy
Yes.
and apply it, and they'll still have their
If
standalone.
they choose to continue it, they can choose to continue
If we
that.
get a good system over here we're all comfortable with,
Yep.
we'll abandon that. But we're a ways from that yet.
We own the,
The data's ours.
that's it. Thanks, Stephen.
Yes, sir.
The only comment I have is on CCTV, says the end date is November of 25. Just if you'd update that to whatever the new,
Just add a 6.
Yeah, no, I must have missed that one. We actually stopped work on that one, so the contractor could regroup during the last rainy season, and they just restarted. So yeah, we need to update that.
So Stephen, on the administrative building, was there, basically the building's a good month behind what the anticipated date was when we awarded the contract. Are there any penalties involved?
No, because we changed ordered the contract to give them additional time for not only rain delays, but I haven't addressed the permit. We gave them additional scope and they asked for time associated with that. So,
So how much extra time did we give them?
It's like 30 days.
yeah, about a month.
About a month.
Mhm.
And based on what you see, you think they're going to be done
Yes.
in August?
As long as, yeah, please knock on wood, everybody.
Okay,
Rain,
okay.
obviously rain, Mother Nature, things outside, beyond our control, but yes.
And is that building and amenities?
The
Okay.
whole campus, yes.
Okay, well, here's hoping.
So we started with February? I believe that's right, Carol? I think it was February, right? I mean, I think that's what we're going with it. Well, all 30 days, we're really going February to August.
At what point, I'm not sure if we've done this or not, but at what point do we need to approve the additional sod plan?
I'm waiting for the proposal from them, and as soon as I have it, you're gonna
Yeah,
have
we
it.
wanted a detailed breakdown of how they came
Yeah.
up with that big number.
I'm waiting on that from them, because they have, as part of the base bid contract, they had to give me sod, palmetto, so they've got to work on what the net new cost would be if there's an added cost, plus the added scope. So they've got to, they're working through that.
That's the switch to Zosia.
Yeah.
And that's actual sod, that's not a,
I've asked for them to give me sprigging prices as well to see if there would be a cost savings on that. But again, it's in their court. As soon as I get it, I'm going to bring it to the next meeting for you guys.
Actually, I wrote it down for Steven. The sod that we're installing on the lake project, Palmetto? Okay. I thought we talked about that. I just want to
Yeah.
make sure.
So on the Pelican one, it is Palmetto. I don't think Met Tower's current contract has Palmetto. But if that's the
Okay.
new standard, we definitely need to just advise them on that.
Yeah, that was the standard that we talked about like last year when the sugar
Stephen,
cane
we need to
came.
go back and look at that because that was bid just last year and I believe we incorporated that, but let's double check.
Yeah, definitely.
Versus
There's still
Florida.
time, so we're good.
Yeah.
and is that for, because of?
The virus.
So I think, Tony, if that contract does not call out, it still has what, floor tam?
Yeah, St. Augustine. Yeah.
Oh, St.
That's-
Augustine is,
That's the
they're
major-
both, they're both St. Augustine. One is St. Augustine, Florida, and St. Augustine, Palmetto. So if it's just named St. Augustine, then we could just decide which one. There is not really much price difference between the both of them, or maybe 5 cents difference. So
We'll look at the
it should,
scope.
it shouldn't be.
I heard there's a pretty big price increase in Citra Blue.
Citra Blue, yes,
That's-
because it's
that's
a
a different
man-made,
deal.
Very
you
big.
know, it's a man-made.
Hard to find.
Well, I would
Well,
say
they all
if there's any pushback, then let's pull Tony in and see if
Yeah, of
there's,
course.
you know, because there's extenuating circumstances to a change order or change request for that.
All right, so nothing else for Steven. We'll go ahead and move to admin items. Chelsea, you want to take one by one, or you want to?
Yep, if I could.
Sure.
Item number 1 is the award of full deployment for RFP 25-10-UT water meter replacement and cellular advanced metering infrastructure. The long-awaited 9-month pilot project has been completed. And with that, I will invite Arcadis. We've got Christy and Nicole here from Arcadis to give you the presentation.
Hi. Nicole.
Hi.
So.
I'm your clicker.
You have the clicker? Okay.
I
You
am
are
the clicker.
All right. So yeah, I think you can go ahead and go on to the next slide. So I'm just here to talk to you a little bit about the pilot, the evaluation.
Just one
and
second, can you
results.
just,
Sure.
just for the record, can you just explain Arcadis and what your role is in this before you go into, or is that part of your background?
No, we
Okay.
can,
Yeah.
I can do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Arcadis was retained to support the district with this project as a subject matter expert on the technical side of things and to serve kind of as a owner's agent through the pilot evaluation and the award.
Okay, this came to us via the trip
The
that Leslie and I
recommendation, yeah.
made.
No,
to
I
San
understand. I just wanted it for
Antonio.
the record for anyone that went back and was
Yeah.
looking.
A few years ago. So today I just want to run through a few key things so that way we can do a quick review of the project. We'll talk about the project background so that we're all on the same page, discuss the process for the pilot and the evaluation, and I'll go through the results of that. We'll understand the cost of what that is to the district and recommendations and next step. You can go ahead and click. So for project background, this has been a long time in the works. But officially, January 6th, the district released an RFP for a water meter and AMI replacement. This is a turnkey procurement where we are procuring the hardware, the software, and the installation labor services to get the equipment installed in the field. This was evaluated in 2 different parts. The first one was evaluating the proposal, where we took a deep look at what each vendor proposed in their written proposals, such as qualifications and experience, their proposal and the approach. We wanted to understand the project team and learn a little bit about who we would be working with, and last but not least, the price. The second piece, the way that we evaluated that, was to invite each of the vendors in for an interview in person. They came here in this room. We asked them to bring some of their equipment so we can see, physically put some eyeballs on this and see what we were going to be getting. And we also wanted them to present to us what they included in their proposal so that we can hear it from them and discuss things. And last but not least, we asked them for two additional things. One, to demonstrate their software so that we can see exactly what the software side of things looks like. And then we also asked each of the vendors for 3 references, which Arcadis called on those 3 references and did some background checks on that as well. So on April 8th, we were given the notice to proceed was issued to the 3 pilot vendors. It was M&E Construction, National Metering, and Pedal Valves. We started officially the 9-month pilot on June 6th, and that ended just recently 10 days ago. So we're here to talk about the results of that. I think a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you're not familiar with meters and meter boxes and AMI, this will kind of give you a glimpse as to what the pilots looked like in the field. So outside of your homes, you have the meter boxes, and inside the meter boxes are your meters. And there's also an AMI radio installed in that as well. The AMI radio is the piece that's attached to the lid of the box. And that's what actually communicates the information from the meter back into the software side of things that the district can use for billing and data analytics and other things. So this is just kind of a visual image of what each of the 3 pilot equipment look like. As you can see, they all look somewhat similar. And all 3 of these were cellular AMI solutions, which does not require any kind of network infrastructure to be stood up and maintained by the district. It's just reliant on the cell towers that exist today.
Just as a point of emphasis.
Mm-hmm.
What does each one of those boxes have in it? You didn't think you were going to get away with that, did you?
No, I figured.
That's the way you do.
Rocks.
Yes,
Point taken.
Thank you.
Point taken.
thank you. Only way to do a job right.
Let's bring that, circle that back when you're done.
Okay, so the pilot process and evaluation, we had 3 vendors. Each vendor got 102 meters each. They had 65 potable small meters, 35 reclaimed small meters. They each got 1 large 3-inch meter and 1 large 6-inch meter. You can kind of see by the image, I know it's a little difficult to see, but this gives you kind of a look at a map to see where we gave the pilot locations. And we selected locations very strategically so that we could kind of put the systems to the test. And we did that based on a couple of things. One, where there were indications of concerns around cellular communication in these areas, and previous current system AMI difficulties in these areas as well. So each vendor got meters in each of those areas. So you'll see the 3 colors in each of the areas. You can go ahead to the next slide. As part of the 9-month pilot process, we took a while to evaluate 8 different categories of areas where we felt like were the most important and critical to the district to be evaluating, and basically understand whether or not which vendor was going to be the right one going forward. So the 9 months allowed us to test the natural Florida environment and kind of allow us to get through a rainy season, a wet season, a little bit of the drier season, and see if that had any impact on the communication technology. So we did go through these 8 categories. They were pilot implementation, installation contractor performance. So how did the installation contractor perform when they were installing the meters and the AMI in the field? The overall read performance, whether or not we had any in-field performance issues. The software side of things, because that's the face of the system and how you're looking at the data. The network, warranty, and RMA processes, and last but not least, the pricing as well. So in the results of the evaluation, we have the scores that were applied to each of these areas and the sum total at the bottom. And as you can see, we had PVI come in first with 124.6 points. National Metering came in second with 113 points. And M&E came in third with 104 points. Possible 165 points total.
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at these, are there 2 or 3 critical criteria that if you're looking at it, it looks like you didn't weight these any differently. They all have equal weighting, correct? From criteria 1 to criteria whatever at the bottom?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, some of them had points of 15, some of them had points of 20, some had 25.
Yes, but
Yeah.
I guess my question is, if I'm looking at this, what are the 2 or 3 most critical criteria as it pertains to total quality of service and impact to the district?
Yeah.
Can you
Can
you call that out?
yeah.
Okay.
So, been working with the district for a while and understanding some of the problems that you've had with your current system, right? And so first and foremost, top of mind, right? Those were the major areas that we considered as, the most critical to the district. So the first one was in-field performance, to understand how these things are really performing. Each vendor had just 102 meters. It was a 9-month pilot. So if you have any issues during that period of time, that can tell us a lot about how it's going to perform going forward. The other area that was pretty critical is the warranty and RMA side of things as well. Because if and when things do become problematic, that's what you have to stand behind. And so those 2 areas were very closely looked at and evaluated.
The pricing, which was done 12 years ago, much to my chagrin, taught us a lesson. Don't go necessarily by the low bid, because you're going to get burned, and we got burned.
When you're talking about software, is that just software capability, or is it has anything to do with reading and transmitting of the data and how the software picks it up or makes it? Is it software reliability, or is it just user interface? Like what is software?
Yeah, kind of all of the above,
Okay.
to be honest with you. We evaluated the usability of it. So how user-friendly is it? Is it really difficult to run reports? Can I get the information out of the software that I need pretty easily? Does it integrate with the billing system pretty easily, or do we have issues with that? And then also uptime. Did we have any, because these are SaaS softwares, software as a service, so it's in the cloud. And we wanted to understand if we had any downtimes or any issues as far as that goes as well. So it's kind of all of the.
And just the last question I have, is this based on total Arcadis scoring, or is there also staff input into this?
It's Arcadis applied the points based on information and input gathered throughout the pilot from the district.
Okay, all right, so there was input on our side.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
perfect, thank you.
Yep.
The people you contacted references,
Mhm.
especially the ones with Badger,
Mhm.
what was their negatives against the Badger?
That I'd have
If
to-
any.
Actually, do you have that pulled up?
Against the what?
What were the negatives? Badger is the selected deal. That's the recommendation. And if we interview.
Oh, the meter, it's,
The company.
The company.
The company, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Badger
All right,
meters, which was one I recommended 12 years ago. The issue is that
Sounds like
the
Trump.
companies,
Just means you're old, Ed.
at that time, there wasn't a lot of information available on this, and I don't think there was anybody that we had that had anywhere near the experience that your company has on this whole issue. But the thing is, I just want to make sure that the companies that, or the firms that have Badger, that are using the ones that we're proposing to go with, what are their negatives about that system, if any? If any.
do you want to keep going?
I was gonna say,
And
can
then-
we come,
Yeah, keep going.
great question. We'll come back to that as she's pulling it up. One of the last topics was just understanding what does this cost to the district. So we look at cost in a couple of different ways. And we did a pricing analysis on all three of the vendors so that we understand how they compare to each other. The top row is the full deployment acquisition cost. So that's like the upfront, this is what it's going to cost the district to put this thing in. We do look at the annual fees as well. And we look at that related to a life cycle cost because this is a system that you're going to have in place for, we do a life cycle for 15 years. And for 15 years, those of you who might be familiar with warranties, typically the warranty is a 20-year warranty. We do a life cycle of about 15 years, which is recommended because at some point in time, as they age, you will start to see failures, and you want to kind of get ahead of that. And so generally, we look at a 15-year life cycle.
That's just 87 times 15 plus 433.
Yes, and then applied to the net present value. Yep, that's all that is. So yeah, I mean, in the end, Arcadis is recommending award to PVI for the full deployment of the water meter and the AMI replacement project. If the board chooses to move forward, the next steps would be award and execution of the contract for full deployment with PVI. Next big thing would be to finalize the full deployment schedule. The vendors did provide a schedule to us as part of their initial proposal, but we would want to kind of revisit that and see what we can do to perhaps even speed things up. And the last item on here is terminate the existing agreement.
Do you prepare or have you prepared the form of agreement that will be between us and PVI? Or do we ask them to form that or don't what happened to him? Do we have our attorney? Who drafts the form of agreement?
Both parties are engaged in that typically, but.
Yeah, so as I believe as part of the original bid documents, we provided a draft of what the language would look like. But again, that would be worked out with both parties.
Definitely want to look at that closely. And the warranty with PVI, is it a sliding scale? Let's say, for example, like Zenner. Zenner had a 10-year full deal and then a sliding scale on the last 10. What is PVI's?
That's correct. Yeah.
Same thing?
Pretty much the same thing. I think the proration percentages and years 11
So that's why you
through
picked
20.
the 15 years for the deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, any AMI system, to be honest with you, almost every vendor has a sliding scale. They have a 10 and 10. Most of them do, not all of them, but most of them do. So that's the most common warranty that you see. And just because it's a 20-year warranty doesn't mean it's going to last for 20 years. So that's why we recommend the 15.
The only reason I brought up the deal about the references is that I don't like to invent stuff. I like to take somebody else's and make it better. Is take what others have done. And if they've got issues that were problematic, whether as a startup or 5 years, 10 years later, I'd like to incorporate that into the contract such that we don't make the same mistake.
Yeah, and to that, I think, the opportunity to pilot, I think, is fantastic because you get to see, performance in practice, especially with our history. We wanted to kick the tires on some of these, on vendors and product. So were there any key findings or any lessons learned throughout the pilot that that we should either be aware of or things we can incorporate into our contract? Was there anything that just jumps off at you like that you can think of?
Don't plant oak trees.
Well, I will say
That's obvious.
the approach. Yeah, the approach that the district has taken on this project is, and I'm not just saying this because I'm here standing in front of you guys. I really am meaning this. It was fantastic because you have a system that's in place today. You're having problems with that system. And as part of our initial planning for this project, we learned and understood, well, the lids to the boxes are going to have to be looked at if we go with a different type of a solution. And the boxes themselves were also in not great shape. And so the district said, listen, we're going to do this right. we're going to get ahead of it and we're going to redo this box replacement project, which has been fantastic. And that's really setting the stage for the next phase of this project, which is getting your new AMI and meter system in place. So you're really getting ahead of things. So, I mean, I think other utilities honestly could learn a little bit from what you guys are doing, because I think that's a really great approach. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, but you guys are really getting ahead of it and taking the right steps to make sure that you have a good performing system. I know I'm not really answering your question because I kind of, backed up and went to what you guys are doing ahead.
More so, as opposed to it being a question, it might just be a statement. I'd say, let's make sure that we are looking at lessons learned and any key findings, and we can break it down and probably into 3 areas: the installation, the actual operations, and then our monitoring. I mean, installation, I know there was probably some really good opportunities to see things and to make adjustments, and that's what a pilot, is really for.
Did the pilot for any of the companies indicate the need to do what we didn't do the last time, which was to do the study to determine how the signals work? Did anything come up that would indicate that we need to repeat and put on light posts and stop signs and everything else, the repeaters?
No.
None of the companies had that issue.
No, that's not an option for the type of solution that you guys are pursuing. Mm-hmm.
And all 3 of the vendors got the same amount of time for evaluation and the same number of meters.
And they're all in the same neighborhoods.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
It's not
it's as
isolated.
close as you can get it. Yeah.
And this is probably very obvious, but I think what's going to be really important as part of this project is to make sure that we have a very thorough maintenance procedures and standard operating procedures. Because even with the meters that I've put in, like I just had to open one, the lid up, and there was always some debris already on top of the rocks. So, I mean, even something as simple as regular cleaning, and I don't think we can rely on homeowners to necessarily facilitate that, because we probably don't want them in the boxes. So, it could be a good summer project for.
Well, and that's been what we've talked about internally with our meter readers. Hopefully their efforts will be able to move to more of a proactive instead of a reactive. And that's the intent, is to have a meter box, a meter pit, management program. And that's, again, setting us up for success in the future, at least touching every single box at least one time a year.
So the next.
And I talked about that earlier today, so yeah.
So the next step would be board approval of taking an action to follow the recommendation or whatever. And then who's going to make the contact with PVI? Do we send them a notice of award? How are we doing this? What's
So
the mechanics we're going through?
Tony can address that.
Yeah, a notice of recommended award was published on Demand Star on Tuesday this week, March 17th at 8:30 a.m. I have it in front of me from Randy. And I think all the vendors were receiving all communications on this project through Demand Star. So they have until the end of the day today to file a notice of intent to protest. And so what we're going to ask is the board to, I think what was being asked is the board to follow the recommendation of the ranking evaluations, award the contract with PVI subject to not receiving any timely and properly filed notice of intent to file
And
the
the board
protest.
subject to those items.
And also after that, if they do file that, then they also have to then follow up with a formal written protest in 5 days. So, if they don't timely follow the processes, so that would be the recommendation. I mean, so any recommendation of the award is subject to not having a timely filed notice of intent to protest.
So Tony, can you give us the proper motion then at the appropriate time?
You have a recommendation from your consultant and evaluation criteria and the rankings. And I think, do you have the agenda item? Can you pull up the executive summary?
Can I ask you a question just before we
Yes.
start getting that, because that will lead us into the motion. I think Ed asked a question, you had just stepped out. As we move forward for contract, I would assume that's coming from on our paper.
Yes.
And will you be working with Arcadis to draft that language?
Yes, Chelsea, Arcadis, and the rest of the staff.
Okay.
Yes. And by the way, it's been a really good working relationship with Christine Nicole.
Well, that was going to be my next question, is what do we need to do? I'm assuming that your services to this point are pretty well complete with this report. We're now going into the next phase. which would be the, what,
You
design and construct, or not the design phase, the construction phase.
You have already approved their contract through final completion of the entire project.
Okay, okay.
So we don't have- we don't have-
So we don't have to do with
action.
that.
Yes,
Right.
the a suggested motion could be, and Chelsea chime in, would be for the board to approve the recommendation from Arcadis, award the full deployment of RFP-25-10-UT, water meter replacement and cellular advanced metering infrastructure to Pedal Valve in the amount of $339,229, subject to not receiving any notice of intent to file a protest by the end of the day today, it's up until midnight, and then not receiving after that, if it is filed, a formal written protest, timely filed, and then authorize the district manager and council to take appropriate action.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
And just as a final question, with that total amount, what would move that number?
Change orders.
I understand the change orders,
Really
but.
not.
Are you looking to reduce?
No, I'm just.
Oh,
That's always acceptable.
right?
I mean,
Well,
what
less is
would
better.
move that number? It would be, what, challenges with installation or, I'm,
Most of those are done
Yes.
because the meters are going to be just, the
Meters, the
brass,
box already
and all
The
of
plug
the
and
work
replug.
has been done.
Yeah,
it's basically is a combination of time and materials, right?
I can answer that. The timing of the large meters could potentially impact that, but it would be either
Delivery.
delivery of those. If it's this vendor doing it versus Metower and timing of those, because we're going from a threaded to a flanged meter, so that requires an entire rework of that assembly. The other thing, if you recall, Timber Marsh Court, which we just took over and we're going to convert those irrigation lines and put irrigation meters in, so that's 42 extra meters.
So there's some additional scope, right?
Yeah, but I believe we have contingency as part of this contract. I'll have to double check, but
Is this 4339-229, is that materials only for the meters, or is that the installation also of it? The whole thing, the whole package?
Full package.
Okay.
And remind me again, so with PBI, are they subbing installation out?
PBI is the installer.
Or PBI is going to install and Badger will.
Badger is the
purchase
meter manufacturer.
that? Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay. Great job. I wish we'd have done this 12 years ago.
Long time coming, and sincerely appreciate your support in this project, and we look forward to doing similar approach as we did last time with the boxes and hosting town halls for each community and rolling out communications and getting these in the ground sooner than later. So thank you for your support.
Great. And thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christy. Thanks, Nicole. Okay, ready for next?
Before we go, Ed, do you want to circle back to the rock, or you think you're done?
I'm going to bring that up under
I
supervisor
think I
comments.
made my point on it, is that the.
That's what I'm
the-
saying, like,
the-
was
the
the
issue-
message gone?
Well, I was a little surprised. I went up to Stony Brook, saw what was going on, and I thought, finally, we know what the hell we're doing, we did it right. Then I found out that we had made some changes. You got to get stone in those pits. The last thing we want is to have a major maintenance issue, like somebody pointed out, you pointed out. You open a pit, you can't get into it because of the fire ants, the dirt, and all that stuff. Well, it's in there because there was no protection. Put a matting in the bottom, put stone on top, 4 to 6 inches, and issues resolved, and that's what you saw in those pictures.
Well, we just to make
That's
sure,
what everybody else
we need to
does.
make sure that's called out. You know, if you're talking about a specific 4 to 6 inches, like that has to be very specific in our
Well,
installation
if
requirements.
all of the other communities, and this is my understanding, maybe I'm wrong, it was my understanding that all the other communities, and Gateway Greens is the last, were installed with the stone.
Hampton Park was, like, I think.
We converted to so let me just be clear, so everybody understands what he's talking about. We originally started with the 57 stone. We had settling complaints after the fact, months or so later, of settling around the boxes. We changed and altered and did like a mixed blend between a dirt rock blend. And what Mr. Tinkle is suggesting is we revert back to the 57 stone, which I'm not opposed to. We're putting fabric, it's not completely covering the fabric, but we did do a field directive change because we were seeing settling around these boxes, getting complaints after the fact. So working with the contractor and Arcadis and staff, we changed course, I think in Hampton Park, no? Beginning of phase two. So Bristol, Cypress, really that's it.
Cypress Cave, Silver Lakes.
Yeah, and Silver Lakes, to this 50-50 blend. And what he's suggesting is we revert back to the 57 zone solely. We've seen less complaints on the 50-50 blend, but ultimately, you know, we'll go reconcile with our contractor and with Arcadis and see
And
what.
I think what Ed's talking about is just, if I'm not mistaken, is just, you're talking about in the box.
In the box.
In the box, not the, not the
One-
sub-material, but
100% internal, the box.
in the box.
Not the
46
outside.
inches of
You're gonna
stone.
get settlement. I sit there and watched them all day today in my neighborhood. You don't take and put the dirt back in and just lump it in. It don't work that way. You got to put it in 2-inch lifts and compact it if you want to minimize settlement. The way they're doing it is not going to minimize settlement, but it's not a wrong way of doing it. It's just that you're going to come back. The first time we get a good rain, it's going to drop, and you're going to have everybody in the community calling in, I've got a great big hole out here where you guys dug. There is no way to prevent it unless you spend the time to compact that material.
This is exactly what I
I'm
was.
worried about inside the
Yeah.
box.
Well, this is what I was talking about, like some of our lessons learned. So when we talk to our installation, we need to specify that they need to compact whatever the procedure is to minimize.
Do it
that.
right the first time.
Right. So we need to make sure that's documented. And if we're saying inside the box, the recommendation or the requirement would be 46 inches of stone or mat,
Stone.
4 to 6 inches. Like, let's just make sure that's part of the requirement of the of
But
installation.
they're all done the same way.
Yeah.
If this is the way we want it done.
I don't know what, in the other ones where they put the stone before they made the switch to the 50-50 blend. I don't know, Billy, was there any protection? Was there any matting? Or just the stone on the bottom up against the dirt?
And was there compaction?
And then I have a question.
Bill Shaw, GSCDD Utility Director. No, there is no requirement for the fabric in the contract. Met Tower, in the beginning of the contract, took it upon themselves to procure some fabric to cover the holes on the outside of the box where the pipes come in to try to help.
It was internal, not
minimize-
external. The fabric was external, not internal.
Yes,
Yeah,
external.
That's what I saw them doing
To try
today.
to help minimize any dirt washing in through the holes. Since we have provided fabric for that same purpose, but no fabric underneath.
When you were using the 50-50, did you compact?
On the outside,
Well, even on the inside.
well, on the inside,
They
there's
should be
just not,
compacting,
You can,
they should be
huh?
compacting.
it's very
regardless.
difficult to compact on the
Inside,
inside
yeah.
because of all
Not
the
enough
piping
room to
and
work.
everything. But if you put in 53 stone, the self-compaction of 53 stone at 4-inch depth is
That'll
about
do
as
it.
good as you're going to get. But the outside of the box, I don't know if our specification called for any compaction requirement or dumping it in lifts, or is it just putting it in as backfill and tamping it?
I don't know.
Usually they
specifically what
walk it in
says.
is what they
Well,
do.
we should be very specific in what we want.
So
We've
Chelsea,
come this far.
Is the complaint that we're getting from the resident, was it aesthetic?
It was a,
Was it aesthetic or was it something that we were looking like a 2 to 3 inches? Because to
it
me,
was a true,
okay,
a
so there
true,
was an issue.
yes, a safety issue we had to go
But
back
we
and
also, during that
address.
time, we've had some rain, so you can get some washout. So there could be
Well,
some
and
contributing factors
I want to
to.
be clear, so Met Tower does go back before they lay sod. If there is divots, they do have fill that they
Wider.
bring in, that they put on and backfill it. But the problem that we were getting was after the sod was there and it's taken and it's been a month, and a month later, we'd get a call from the resident saying, hey, I have these divots and
Impressions.
compressions that you need to come back and fix. Well, at that point, now we're tearing up good sod that we just placed, putting more fill in, backfilling it. And so that's why we collectively agreed to convert to a 50-50 blend, so we would have less seepage, I guess, through the stones.
And then I think if I do recall, I specifically Hampton Park residents, they wanted the sod installed 3 days after.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
You don't do
No.
that. So there are certain
Don't
things
do
that
that.
while I understand, but that's aesthetic, we have to do it right. So that's when you say yes, but no.
And we need the
People need
time.
to
Yeah, so
understand.
I wouldn't put it in, because I remember they were pushing, I mean, I was getting emails about, I'm like, oh my God, the guy just left. He didn't even arrive at his house and you already want sod? I mean, that's literally how bad they
So we
want the
make sure that we
sod.
communicate that when it's
That's
time
an
to
important
install.
issue.
we
Nobody's had
communicate.
sod for at least 2 months, so.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd take at least minimum 2 weeks before you put any
And that's
sod down. Because
typically,
that's going to settle,
Yeah.
and if we get these rains, it's going to be even more magnified, and it's going to drop, which means when they come back with sod,
Yep.
they better have topsoil.
they do, so.
okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
All right,
Okay.
nothing else?
No.
All right.
All right, so this next item is,
Madam
Yes.
Chairman, when we start talking about B, could we also include the history on G also, 11G? Because they're kind of connected, aren't
a
they?
little bit.
Yeah,
Determination.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but just as Chelsea's giving us the whole
can you
history.
give us a little summary? Yeah, I don't have, yeah.
So a couple years ago, we put out an RFQ for landscape architectural services. That was awarded to RWA. Chris Wright is here with RWA. Ultimately, fast forward, they had a landscape architect doing the plan designs. We proceeded through 60 through 30, 60. Now we're at 90. Some things have changed. RWA is dissolving and their folks are shifting over to Kimley Horn. You guys, you can correct me on any of this when you come to the podium, but we tried to work through a contract transition. Ultimately, given how old the contract is, the original engineer, original landscape architect who did the design work is not with RWA, nor are they with Kimley. They're actually with a different third-party company, but we thought it best to just sever ties, mutually agree. In the meantime, we did put out another RFQ. I can't talk too much about it because it is an active RFQ for landscape architectural services, but with, kind of to Carol's point, in tandem with the termination that we'll hopefully take a break later. You guys can read the letter because it is very fresh. This 90% presentation will be the last deliverable from RWA, and we will work through getting to 100% through an alternative method for the remainder of the design.
So are we going to, well, we're walking on real thin ice here. I've been down this road before. You got to really watch it because we got a work product that RWA put together. I don't know that any other engineer or architect is going to come in and take that over just carte blanche and agree to any ramifications of responsibility if it don't work.
We're working through that. So again, like I mentioned, the original person who put the LA of record for these plans, we're working through a separate contract with them and Tetra Tech to get us to that 100% threshold. So the original designer of these we want to keep, and that was the emphasis with Kimley. Unfortunately, we just couldn't come to terms, and we just mutually are agreeing to terminate the contract with RWA. But I do have them here today to present the 90% design plans for the irrigation and for the plantings. James McCord with Kapoor, he was the designer. He is online in the event that there's any specific questions, but the presentation today is from RWA.
Well, my question is certification. These require professional certification. Who's stamping these plans?
James McCord did stamp the plans when they were submitted at 90%.
Okay, and he's not withdrawing his seal on these by the fact that he's not going to be involved to see they're completed or anything?
He, if everything works out, he is going to continue to finish this project. I have to work through that with Tetra Tech.
With,
I do, and I also think,
Through the
I
company
don't
he's
mean
with
to
now.
cut you off, Ed, but I do think, I did have a conversation with Chelsea. I think it's maybe a conversation that you can have, like,
Separate, yes.
with this 5-minute recess, we're gonna
Yes.
have a lot done. We're gonna read this, and if you can touch with them
Yeah,
on it
Yes.
in more detail.
so Chris and
Got it, right?
Chris,
It's not
Chris
here.
Squared, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves, are here representing RWA, 90% plans of these, of the irrigation, and then it's, in essence, it's 100% plans of the landscaping stuff.
Okay, before we start, I just have one question. I could not see, I don't know, I'm just kidding. I couldn't see
You
it in
want
the
me to get
computer.
the magnifying glass?
You printed this and I just can't see it because
no problem.
I can't read. No.
Well, we'll pull it up. If you have specific questions, we'll zoom in for you.
Well, I kind of wanted to answer my own questions without wasting time, but I
Okay.
think I don't have a choice but to ask a lot of questions because I just can't read it. It's just too small for me.
There's not much that has truthfully changed between the 60 to 90%. So I'm hoping that you guys don't have a lot of questions because we tackled this at 60, but if you do, we can address them.
11 by 17 next time. You
Okay.
want this?
Yeah, that's what you need, is 11 by 17 drawing.
Yeah, I can't
Okay.
read.
All right, Chris, right? If you want to, Chris. See, I'm going to butcher, Chris C., I'm going to butcher your last name, so I'm not even going to try. So,
Well, first and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Sorry I haven't met you before. I have been with the project since the inception. As Chelsea explained, there's been some dynamics at place here, and here we are. So we have delivered a 90% set of plans that happened in January. After that delivery, we have met with staff a couple different times to talk about comments that were received. So we're in a good position to kind of make the transition as Chelsea's described. So we're in a little bit of an uncomfortable situation given the fact that the work that has been done to date has been led by James. We're here as the prime for the contract. And with me here today is Chris with Kimley Horn. Chris is a registered landscape architect, and we have the presentation that we're going to walk through. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris and let you guys enjoy the 90% presentation.
Appreciate that, Chris. And for everyone, my name is Chris Chunfilione. I am a landscape architect and a certified arborist in the state of Florida and with ISA. And Chelsea, I heard you mention James is on the line.
Yes.
So James on the line, by all means, I would welcome his guidance and input during this as well. This is information pulled together from the plans that he's got organized on the 90%, and just kind of here helping to translate landscape architecture design for everyone. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump in, and as I mentioned, would certainly welcome James's input. So at a high level, looking at the 90% plans today and the associated costs, and then talking about some considerations for phasing. James, if you're on, do you want to maybe tee up the overall concept?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the overall landscape design was to kind of create a continuum of what has made Gateway such a prime community, and take that same feeling and flow and put that on Griffin as you have on Gateway Parkway. So it was to really help unify the entire site instead of being two separate main roads, to being a unified community. So it's pretty simple, and it's a lot of matching and tying in with. But it's just really to kind of, again, eventually give you that same feel that you get driving down Gateway Parkway, that you'll have the same thing on Griffin one day.
James, you want to talk us through the design features coming in off of Griffin Parkway?
So this was a area that had very little plant material. So we decided to, areas that we had opportunities to put in oaks to get that feeling that you have throughout the community with, being the oaks is kind of the defining character of Gateway. Now it's even shown in the, did you say you couldn't hear me?
We're good.
Yeah, we can't really read it, so we may have specific question about specific location, because the legend, like, that's what I was trying to look at, the legend and what is getting planted.
That's what I can't
Well,
read.
I totally want to emphasize planting on this location, because it's going to stop some of the issue that we have with parking. I want to see how close to the road that we can get without really creating a problem for 15 years down the road.
This is the overview one. Do you want the overview one? Or do you want to wait 5 minutes and we can try to print these in?
I would wait, because I think this is really important. We are at 90, and if this is the time that we would give feedback of either go with the planting there or not, means.
What is the red color? I see the legend. That's sod?
Yes.
Yes, it's going to be sodded like the rest of the way with the St. Augustine.
The red is the easiest to read in this map.
So what you're seeing, the larger circles are going to be your oak trees, and the caveat is we utilized oaks where we could based on safety, and FDOT has some standards about off a certain type of roadway section, you have to have a certain distance back. So if somebody went off the road and hit it, you gave them what they call a recovery zone time. So the trees and stuff that are within that, what they call the clear zone, or frangible trees that if a car hits, they would snap, whereas the oaks don't move as much. So where we could get the oaks in, we put them in. Where we couldn't, we utilized other plant materials, some flowering trees to add as accents, but that would stay within those safety considerations. So
since this is in the county road right away, what approvals do we have to get, or what consent do we have to get from Lee County for what we're proposing to do in their right away?
Just a right away permit.
Then as part of the interlocal agreement that we have, as part of reviewing that right of way agreement, they're going to review the plantings, and they'll have comments.
Well, I know we're at 90%. That's why I'm thinking it's a long way down the road. At this point in time, I would like to have their consent to this.
Ultimately, we're responsible for the landscaping no matter what goes in. They're just going to make sure it's MUTCD compliant and that the safety zone is captured.
Yeah. So just to let you know, I've done 13 roadways for Lee County Department of Transportation, so I'm pretty familiar with their requirements, their safety requirements. I also used to sit on their roadway landscape advisory committee, so I have a good relationship with them, and again, so that's one reason why we followed FDOT standards, because they do. And this being that this right away is now theirs, we want to make sure that it would be something that they would be amenable, because they do like landscaping, they're good with it, but they just want to make sure it's safe. So that's the reason why I use that design criteria. So like I said, going down, what we did is we created just enough space off the road where it didn't look as inviting to park, but enough to be able to maintain and also maintain those clear zones. We looked at sites, lines of sites were on the crossroads to make sure that when somebody's pulling up to the stop bar, there's plenty of visibility for oncoming traffic when they come out. So, but typically most of the plants are your oak trees. So the larger ones are oaks.
A question on that. You're on the west side of the road where we have the sidewalk. What are those plantings there? The last thing I want is trees to have roots go underneath the sidewalk and break it up. What are those plants?
Those I think those are the crepe myrtles. They're ornamental trees. Fine. They're not gonna do anything to the to damage the walk. But we've also talked with Chelsea and Paul that we're going to most likely, just to be safe on some of those, especially where there's oaks getting closer to the sidewalks, we're going to just put in the a root barrier just as a safety sake. But the crepe myrtles and the ornamental trees will not do any damage to those walkways. And being at the scale it is, I mean, they look closer than they really are because this scale is pretty small. And that's why it's a little more difficult to read. I think this is maybe a 50 or 60 scale. So it's go ahead.
Okay. So I'm looking at, because in the area on the west side, there's a huge swale there.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm trying to visualize this specific location that we're going to be planting these trees.
Well, there's the entrance to your house
Well,
right there.
no.
It's the next one down.
Okay, well, so this is a pretty steep swale right here. When it's summer, it's full with water.
This is right
So-
before you hit Stony or Silver Lakes.
Correct. On the other side, so from 82 to the roundabout, no issue on planting. It's pretty flat.
Yes, ma'am.
From the entrance or the school bus, which the lift station is prior to Magnolia Lakes, from that entrance, which is near this sidewalk right here, this crosswalk,
Yeah.
that way, it's a significant swale. So
On
I'm
the
trying,
west side.
correct, I'm trying to think space like sidewalk ends here, and I would say probably a foot to a foot and a half, you start going down. That's my
Yeah.
concern. We're planting on a very,
The back side of the sidewalk or the
yeah,
front side?
the
of
front side,
sidewalk?
right here.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a slope, but I mean, if you, it's not, the plant material that is taken into consideration, like the lower level plant material is like muley grass, which can actually get inundated. So I've taken into account that the trees will be a few feet off the walkway. Yes, they'll be on a side slope, but you see these type of plantings, I mean, even along interstate embankments. So the trees, I believe they're crepe myrtles, and they're very fibrous roots. So they'll root in, they'll help for things like erosion and that kind of stuff, and they won't be much of an issue. And where they're located, they shouldn't be any problem with the swale.
Okay.
So we have no irrigation in this area currently on either side of the road.
Yes, sir. That's part of the irrigation design. The entire Griffin will be irrigated as well. So so all these plant materials, the irrigation system has been designed specifically for the new beds, and the new turf.
Okay, I just have one question, but not for you, for Ed. Ed, so what I was thinking, knowing this area, would it be better to move those trees closer to the road, meeting DOT? That's what,
County
because
probably
on
won't
the,
approve
because,
it. That'd be my fear. County won't approve
because
it.
on this side, it's a lot flatter.
My thought would be is you could take the trees on the other side of the sidewalk. If it's in the
But
right of way.
no, it's, I don't,
Is the back side of the
You
sidewalk the edge
couldn't.
of the right of way?
because it's
Yeah.
a huge berm. It would,
The drop off.
yeah, it goes up,
Well, we know that the berm comes off of
Hampton.
backside of Hampton Park.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with there as long as they are aware of the specific location.
James, you've done quite a few site visits, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm sure. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, and the other advantage having them a little closer to the sidewalk is, once they do, they'll have these crepe myrtles will get some type of somewhat of a canopy and do add a little bit of shading, not a lot because it's not going to grow it entirely over, but it'll break up some of the sunlight on the walkway and make it a little more comfortable for a better experience for the people utilizing those pedestrian.
What's the
walks.
canopy of those trees?
Those are probably, I think I probably got them spec'd as natchez.
What I was trying to get to is, does
they'll get
those
about
trees
20
go out over the road?
No.
They won't.
It's very
Maybe
similar to what
20
we
feet.
planted at the FPL easement, you
Yeah.
remember? So those are the trees. So I
Yeah.
would say maybe if that
One-
8 feet in each side, that's like really a very mature
Yeah.
tree.
About 20
Yeah.
feet.
See, I know about plants.
Yeah, as long as we don't have an issue with that, I don't have a problem.
So generally, what we tried to do was have consistency throughout the entire distance of Griffin, have a little bit of color on each of these plantings, mirror, and then obviously put the nice sod that we have throughout the rest of the community, and then irrigate all of the things, and that'll kind of lead into the phasing conversation that we'll have. But if you have specific questions about the specific plantings, please let us know. But this is 90, but really it's more of 100% because
That's what,
there's really no
nothing
more
much-
unless you want to remove or swap out a different, a
Are we
specific
planting a lot of
species.
sable palms?
James, did you hear her question?
Yes, we have some sable palms being planted. We also, where they say we can't utilize sable palms due to the clear zones, that's where we were using Florida thatch palms because they're considered frangible by FDOT. And they give you kind of a similar feel. They're not exactly the same look, but they're both palmate palms and both Florida native palms. So it'll give kind of a balance of look, but yes. So the palm trees are just the thatch palms and your sable palms, I believe, is the only varieties.
So once we get past the Silver Lakes wall on the north end, essentially the west side of the road has minimal landscape changing.
Because there's already stuff there.
There's already landscape there.
It's probably the bushes that really the only thing that's changing, so you're removing some of that red stuff.
So instead of throwing money at what's existing, let's do a net new so people can see what we actually spent the money on.
Yeah,
Keep going.
and on the west side, you see a little bit that we're just filling in. There's some large areas just filling in some spots where plants have died and things like that. So this is just most of the west side is just now filling in once we get past that.
One other question. I know this is a big gamble. Has anybody communicated with the county on the expansion of that road to 4 lanes?
Yes.
And their deal is?
No.
It's not, no, they have no current plans to expand that road. So that is something that we are considering as part of the irrigation design and where the sleeves go and trying to
Because
keep
I
it
don't
as
want to tear
close.
all that out at our
Yes.
expense because they'll come back and nail us.
What I would do is I would take Cecil at lunch and tell him we're planning to invest X amount of millions of dollars in this project. And if there is,
But he's also his term. He's not gonna bound any other board after him, so he can say, no, there's not, and then another board can go in 6 months
Change
later
it.
and change it, so that it's really.
Our design,
Make it feel better.
our design needs to incorporate the fact that area.
fallback plan.
Yes, that area could become a 2-lane road.
Well, and that's the caveat of doing this landscaping now. We're on the irrigation side of things, we did talk about that and having the sleeves go as far to the edge of the right of way as possible in the event that, they do expand it. I've asked the question 2 or 3 times and it's no current plans to expand.
That's exactly what they said. And then we have to think about it, what the position that we would take, given the traffic issues that we currently have, now having to it's going to be a cut through more than ever if you expand that. It's going to create, in most scenarios, it will alleviate traffic. This, for us, it will create more traffic because people are going to bypass Colonial and people are going to bypass Daniels. So as of right now, I would be opposed to even trying to go that route because it wouldn't benefit Gateway residents whatsoever.
Oh, none of that benefits us.
So, obviously, as we progress with design of the sidewalk and things like that, we'll take those things under consideration, but there has to be a drawing, sand and line in the sand of, okay, do we proceed with this? What do we do?
Well, now this doesn't show any sidewalk on that
I know,
east
because
side.
we haven't designed it yet. So we did, as part of the 90% comments we provided to RWA, we said, hey, we have this potentially forthcoming. The sidewalk's going to try to hug the edge of the right of way, so we need to try to keep the landscaping as close.
When you say hug the edge of the right of way, the back side of the right of way.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Because the last thing we want to do is replace that sidewalk.
Yeah.
And what's right there right now? 1 forced main, 2 irrigation mains in
Keep
that same
counting.
area.
I'm sure there's plenty more. Keep adding. So, again, the focus of this landscaping, as the board suggested, at 30% was, hey, if we're doing irrigation, let's add some plantings and make the 2 tie in. So ultimately, this is the gist. There's a couple other patches here and there, but if you have any comments, if if you want to take some time over the next week and review those, we're still working through the
Can we
contract
get,
stuff.
can we get a,
I'm praying
at
them
least
right.
11 by
Yeah,
17?
we're
Well, at
praying
least,
them now.
I guess my thing is I want to be able to identify what they are on the map. Like, I have a question regarding shell ginger, right? Because that particular plant does not like sun. And I only know this because we spend a lot of money, we plant them on foreign pine wood, and they all die. I'm trying to think, because I live in Magnolia Lakes, it is full sun. Where we're going to be planting this?
We're
So
printing out.
so that's why I can't give you
So-
feedback, because I can't necessarily look at it. Because this, I mean, it was a huge waste of money when we planted this. They all died within like 2 months, like totally burned. They're great underneath oaks or in, somewhere with shades are. I don't have any other problems with copper
Yeah.
leaf or like, those are
So,
super native. They don't even need
to-
water to grow.
To answer that question, most of those, the shell ginger was closer to the 7-Eleven, and we were pulling all those plants out. It was to fill in on that shady bank. And
The shady-
we're
okay, so that's fine, yeah.
so we're removing most of those. So I can't recall of any more of those shell ginger except in that area. So
Okay, that's
I don't-
perfect, because that's a shady area. Okay.
yeah, so
And just a quick question. So if I'm looking at the, let's say, trees,
Yeah, we didn't.
oak is an identity of Gateway, but they're problematic for us. So are we looking at, would you describe like the crepe myrtle as a secondary or an alternative to what would be, let's say iconic for Gateway? Like we either have oaks or we're trending towards crepe
You
myrtles
never-
as a.
Those are two,
No.
I mean, they are two different things. You will never get a crepe myrtle to look anything like an oak
No,
tree.
I'm not trying to, I'm
Or
I'm
have
not
the
trying to do
canopy-
that.
Because here.
I'm not trying to say
yeah.
that to replace the canopy. I'm saying if, are we trying to utilize crepe myrtles consistently as an alternative to, let's say, an oak? Not because of the canopy, just because it's a different tree and it flowers and it's it's attractive.
You're finding a new palette and, yeah.
We use crepe myrtles consistently as opposed to 3 other types of varieties to create some uniformity, I guess, as opposed to more of a colorful tree
I mean, I
palette.
think that came from the study that we did 5 or 6 years ago that said that, we didn't have the diversity. So if a bug or something happened, in a few years that kill oak trees, because all we have is oak trees, we'll lose all of our trees. So I think that was part of the report was with that too. Like if you don't have different types of things like pine boards with all the pine woods on Gateway Boulevard, the pine boards came in and I mean, we lost over 100 pine trees there and it looks pretty bare because there's nothing else there. So I think if I remember part of the report, I don't know, do you remember that, Chelsea?
Yeah, I do remember that,
Yeah.
but I'm saying, but we're not really,
Mm.
this doesn't really have diversity when it comes to trees. It's
I
either
know.
live oaks or it's crepe myrtles. And I'm fine with that as long as we're saying crepe myrtles are going to be kind of a sub-identity of Gateway in addition to the oaks.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to a shady lady, a black olive tree, because that's.
We have a couple of those
So
scattered.
I think that would be good. I'll probably would be opposed to a Japanese orchid or the yellow one that we used to have on Gateway Boulevard because just the root system's extremely weak. Any little wind would just come straight down. And they are, 3 months out of the year, they look good. After that, it just looks like dead. So that's kind of what I was looking for. That's the feedback that I was going to give you is on those specific plants, just because I've been here for 20 years. So I don't want to make the same mistakes.
so
Go on.
the crepe myrtle is the reason why it's being utilized is one, it adds interest, but the main reason is because of it's considered frangible. The shady ladies, the shady ladies, Hong Kong orchids, those canopy trees aren't considered frangible and could bring liability. So I was looking at some trees that would add some color because most everything is, we focus a lot of times way too much on emphasis during the season. This will give the residents some color, their full-time residents color as well. And they're very low maintenance and if they did get hit, they're very recuperative. So it's a pretty good fail-safe tree and there's, except for a mite that happened years and years and years ago, They're pretty fail-safe as in disease resistant and those type of things.
This photo that's in there right now is where we're putting that new sidewalk in it.
No,
Sure.
that is Stony
Where
Brook.
the sidewalk
Nope,
comes
that's
from.
up by Stony Brook and the villages. See, the
This
top picture is the entrance to,
Here's a village,
That part up here.
and here's a village, and here's Stony Brook.
Oh, you've already moved up. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I thought you were going,
So,
continuing on.
again,
down.
just
What is the action that needs to be taken
any
today?
feedback and then proceeding to what would be 100% bidding plan set for landscaping, for this landscaping.
Everything here is Palmetto, right?
Yes.
I was able to read that, but just make sure.
So if you want to just continue on so you guys can see the cost and we'll wrap up this presentation. Because a lot of this, the conversation that I'm hoping to get of today is on the irrigation project. The EOPC is double what the budget is. And so the conversation is phasing and what phasing, if or not, if you wanted to.
This is the landscape cost of what we just looked at on
Yes.
Griffin.
Yes,
What's the irrigation cost?
we're getting there.
Okay.
So this would be the total for what he has proposed. We'll make we can take your comments and make some edits to that and while we get to 100%. Going to the next thing. And I'm just going to kind of roll through this real quick. So the whole point of this irrigation project, you guys know better than I do. You know, we want to modernize, we want to get the water off the roads and off the sidewalks and off your car windshields. Get rid of all the 9-volt batteries that we have to, we want to modernize this, right? Bring smart technology that we can control from a tablet or a
Baseline.
yeah, exactly. So continuing on. So the EOPC at 90% for the distribution system is roughly $3.8 million. The communication system, which would be the smart technology and how to control it, is about $762,000.
At the baseline
Yes,
system?
yes.
Okay.
So the total EOPC for the entire project is a little north of 5 mil. We only borrowed 2.5 mil, which included design under the 2023 bond series. So
This is for total replacement of all piping. We're not utilizing any of the existing irrigation piping.
James, do you want to touch
So
on
I was
that?
gonna ask that question.
This will be replacing everything from the meter.
Everything from the existing irrigation meters to the
Correct.
delivery point.
Yes.
Yes, so this would it'd be like a new system except for the trunk lines, if you will, or the main
Yeah.
large lines that are like 16-inch and things like that, which, you don't replace those unless something happens. There's no really
We
need
come
for
off,
that.
we come off the 8-inch lines and 6-inch lines with service lines that feed the meter.
Yes, sir.
From that point on, it's all new.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. And each meter would have we're proposing a pressure transducer, so we can actually see the pressures, see when the issues are, so be able to hone the system to make sure that we get better watering, better balance. And then there's also there'll be flow meters, so they can actually see how much water is flowing. It'll let them know if there is a issue, if it flows too much, there might be a break, it would shut it off and then send an alert so they can get the maintenance people out there to check it out and see what's going on. So you won't have roads being undermined because a break has been going, been allowed to just keep running and running and running. So that's what the communication systems will bring in. It'll give it all to where somebody can operate it with an iPhone.
So you're saying that 2.5 million is the cost just for Griffin Drive. The difference between 2.5 and the 5 million is Gateway Boulevard?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And the other little ancillaries and the
So Gateway Boulevard is only, Gateway Boulevard, I'm having this hard time to understand this. Gateway Boulevard costs less than Griffin Drive?
It's Griffin Drive has
Pretty much about the
You have
same.
nothing. You're starting
No,
from
no, no.
scratch.
No, see the Griffin Drive also,
You don't have anything there that done Gateway
the
Boulevard? I assume you're doing the same thing. You're starting at the meter and going out? Because the
So-
quantity of pipe, footage of pipe is at least double on Gateway Boulevard versus
No,
Griffin
no.
Drive.
So the option 3 is Griffin plus the communication system. So Griffin is only about 1.7 of the 2.5.
I see what you're saying. So
Yeah.
you guys should take that 800,000 out of the 2.5.
Correct. So that 800,000 would be full communication, so you'd have all your entire
Everything.
system.
You're
They'd be able,
1.7 on Griffin for irrigation and you're 3
Yes.
for, yeah, now that sounds
makes
more
sense.
like
Yeah.
it.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, linear, nothing here.
So again, we don't have the budget to do the entire thing unless you came up with an alternative funding source, albeit bonds, a short-term loan, et cetera.
Well, these
We're looking-
are engineers' estimates, right? These,
Yes.
no bids, no
Correct.
contractor estimates whatsoever.
Correct.
Do you have the ability to do one and then the other? Is that what you're looking for? Either do the whole thing and find the missing money that we don't have, or just do one and
These are all your options. So if you wanted to do the full system, we could proceed with the full system and bidding full system. If you said, we only have this much money, Chelsea, do what you can with the money we have, then I'm going to proceed and you guys have to give me direction if you'd rather have landscaping improvements and irrigation on Griffin, or if you want just communication throughout the whole thing. I would
You say
say
communication throughout the whole thing, tying in on like Gateway Boulevard, tying in
all
the
of
new baseline system.
putting in the baseline everywhere.
So putting in baseline to connect to the old current
Yes.
system.
Yes.
So for
That would-
me, I would just say communications on the whole thing, it should be the priority, like on the whole thing. Now, landscaping and implementation, I haven't made a decision if I would do all of it or if I just do half.
And that's the 453 total landscape, right?
Yep.
With the
Total
issue.
project
No,
cost
but
is
it,
around
but then I'm
5.5.
talking about either the 2.5 or the 5.
Yeah, but I'm saying that is irrigation. We still have the 453 for
Yeah.
landscaping,
Which is the
which is in
smaller-
addition to
yeah.
the option 1, 2, and 3 from an irrigation perspective.
What's going to keep the water off the road?
well,
Is it, and
The-
the irrigation,
The communication only is not going to solve the water
no,
on the
because you're not
road.
adjusting anything.
Because that's right. So what we're doing
So
is
you
we're
have to
putting
do-
perfume on a pig
So you have
if
to
we
do all of
go
it.
out there and do that.
And I'll tell you, if there's one
That
key
will,
requirement for me, it's keeping the water off the road.
well, it's, if we go in and do Griffin Drive, I can tell you that we will have to find a stadium to hold the people because they're going to be livid. You're going to spend that kind of money to handle that road, which wasn't done by the developer in the first place, is going to be a hot issue. So you're going to have to do the whole thing as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
So,
That's the only way you're going to keep the water off the road.
and from a bidding perspective,
Be easier that way too.
you could scale, right? If you do the whole thing compared to, phasing it over time, you're going to do multiple MOBs, DMOBs, et cetera. But we need a funding source. And you have the available funding source of the 2023 bonds, of a new bond series under the bond validation that we did, but that would take us borrowing more
Keep in mind, When
money.
you're doing this,
And we talked about that when we talked about doing the sidewalks also, including sidewalks in a new bond.
when you do that baseline, you're going to want to install that with the new piping. You don't want to bore that separately. That's what we did over in our community. That's a mistake.
You do it all
You want
once.
to do it all at once.
Yeah.
Yes. So I just don't see any way you can do this that you don't do the whole thing
The whole
at
thing.
one
The
time.
we're
hole is
looking at-
there, just do it, yeah.
And just
Any
get
sort
it
of
done.
phasing of it definitely,
It-
can add costs over time, not breakdown that you're talking about, but also just time and escalation of.
You just look at the service life of what we've already got out there. It's old.
I
It's
know.
dead. It's dying. It needs to be replaced. So just bite the bullet. We got to
So
do
we're
it the
looking
right
at
way.
$5.5 million for a complete irrigation and landscape
Landscaping.
project.
Less what we've already taken out. So we had the contract with RWA, which I have to go back and deduct that from what we have available. So probably closer to 3 mil, 4 mil. I'd have to go run the numbers with Laura, but that would have to be an additional borrowings that we would have to
So
do.
I want to make sure we're talking numbers. When you're ever doing these projects, you've got construction costs and non-construction costs. I'm assuming these do not have any engineering, any of those non-construction costs associated with that 5 million. Is that, or is that included?
No, that is not included.
So then
You've
if
already
you-
approved
so if you're
full task authorization with RWA, which will end up probably
Is
going
that
to
in this
Tetra Tech.
cost?
No.
Okay, I'm trying to get to the bottom
already
line.
approved, yeah.
What is the total cost of this project? Total. Construction, and you're now talking about $6.5 million.
Wait, one second. So we've already approved
We've
all the
already
engineering
approved.
costs, but have we budgeted that?
That's what my question.
Okay.
My question is to answer our people, how much does this cost to do this whole thing? That's
If you
the
give me a
million that we're spending plus the 5 million that is yet.
Well, we've
to be
already spent $1 million.
Do what?
We've already spent $1 million.
I understand that.
Okay, so
But the
that's,
total cost of
that's
this,
gone.
the
All we're
total cost to
talking
do
about
this
is new
project is
cost.
about $6 million.
The incremental cost is the $5 million.
5 million, yeah.
Well, that's what we call the construction cost.
Your soft costs, give me a second. We're pulling up the RWA contract to tell you, because that was, go ahead, James.
I think it was about, with the landscape added to it, I think the design fees, including all the way through maintenance, even the CEI fees for it, was about 400,000. For the-
335.
That's money we've spent.
There's another one.
That got us to where we are.
And that was all the way through construction.
Okay.
I will move that we do option 1.
Well, how critical is it we do anything? Only $5 million, I mean,
Right now, what is your plan for financing, let's say, the whole thing?
You would have to-
5.5, 6 million, whatever it is?
You would need to do another bond series unless you chose to do a short-term bank loan.
Okay, so if we do a bond series, is this a 20-year financing, Tony, or
Yes.
is this 5-year?
It's
We're
20 year.
operating under the already validated
It could be
bond.
20-year.
It could be 20 years.
Okay, so 20-year, let's 5.5. Laura, what's that work out to be, P and I?
Hang on. Give me a second. I gotta open my other. Give me a couple minutes to pull it up.
Because this is not going to be paid for by you guys. You're not involved in
no,
this.
that's not my
I'm trying,
point. I'm just
I'm trying
trying
to come up with a cost of this is going to raise everybody's rates by X dollars.
Yes.
And it's real simple. It's the principal and interest on about $5.5 million divided by 6,000 users. That's simple. What's that number?
I do it at 5% for 20 years at 5.5 million. Tell me here. Comes out to $442,000 a year.
Divided by 6,000, that's the P and I a year?
Yeah.
Divided by 6,000.
$700.
Roughly, because about 442 divided by 7.
How much?
About 7,000. Yeah.
$700
Per home.
$700 per home per
Per year.
year to finance this irrigation deal.
432,000, is that what you said, annually?
442.
That number sounds too
440
high. I
divided
think
by
it's 70.
6,000 is
Does sound pretty
72.
high.
I think
It's
70.
72.
Yeah,
It's
we
about
lost-
$70 a year.
$74.
Okay, I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
a decimal place off.
700, I couldn't sit here and.
70
talk
bucks.
about
I
that.
know,
People
it's
getting
like
shot.
74.
$70 is
like
a
the
different
park was
story.
Lining the road with roses.
But, you know, I mean, come on.
The path of
I know
heaven,
We're
right?
talking about aeration, that we're putting some money in. We're already putting a ton in ponds.
$6 a month is
Now
what
we
it
got
costs
$6 a
everybody
month.
in the community to pay for this deal. That's ballpark.
One thing,
But there's a savings. There is a savings on the operation side. We are throwing away money big time on operating of the existing system.
Between repairs and
Not
wasted
counting
water.
the fact that
and-
how many
yeah.
times.
What's
we
the
car
savings
wash.
then? What do you
That
calculate the
drives me
savings at?
batshit.
How do we calculate the savings? What are we offsetting?
Repair maintenance?
Okay.
All the costs associated with throwing that water that right now we're throwing away.
Well, do we have a dollar number? I mean, if
No
we're
idea how
putting
many
forward
million
a
gallons it
cost,
is. Yeah,
and I'm hearing there's a savings, what's the savings?
big number.
I think one other item to take into account is when you do the borrowing, you're going to issue a bond for more than $5,074,000. Because you have cost of issuance, you have capitalized interest.
Well, that's why I
You
said
have all,
five
so
and a half.
probably, probably talking 6 million.
So
arguably.
anyway, you go, you're 75, 80 bucks. That, I second your motion.
Oh. Sorry.
My motion was for option 1.
And I second that motion.
Okay, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose?
Aye.
Okay, 4-1, motion passes.
Thank you. Are
Thank
we,
you.
So,
And I am going to give you,
wait a
expect
minute,
some
wait a minute.
feedback on the.
But that's just
type of
irrigation.
tree.
Yeah, I might have additional feedback once I be able to see what I'm looking
Me
at.
too.
Because I can't
We-
read it.
Are we leaving landscaping for later?
I would prefer you give us feedback, but if you want to proceed with the landscaping, really, I mean, I would like to put both of those as one project. That way I don't have finger pointing of the irrigation guy didn't.
Well, if you're gonna dig, do it all. I mean, we're looking at 400,000, 5 million. My thing is, I won't be even opposed to making the motion, which I usually never do. But I want to have some feedback on the type of trees that go out there, because this is something that, at least I know that the residents in Griffin on that side, which is where I live.
Okay, let's
So
do that.
I want to be able to give that. So I'm fine with making a motion, but not that is what's here, it's what's going to be planted in the exact location. Because one thing that I want to take in consideration is, and that's, I guess, talking with this board is, do we want to have the hardwood trees closest to the road as possible, meeting the guidelines, clearance? Because I hate to plant it and have what we have on Gateway Boulevard in front of the charter school, which is the necessary clearance for it, but just enough for a car to park. So does that make sense?
Let's do this.
I am thinking.
What I would recommend is
Come back. I'll bring the landscaping back at the next meeting. James and,
Or can we give you feedback individually and then you just compile that feedback and give it to him? Because
I'll have to bring it
What's
back.
that here,
Well, hold on,
Tony?
I want to make sure I understood this here now. You're saying this 5 million includes the landscaping and that's another 2 million, so we're not talking
No,
5 million.
450.
400,000.
437, right?
437,000,
I
that's
think-
what
go
you
back.
were referring to. Okay, gotcha.
Well, and what I would probably
So we're
recommend,
still
if we wanted to
5.5, $6
package
million
this up,
dollars. Okay.
we could make another motion to
412.
approve the landscape project.
I don't want to pigeonhole you guys. We'll just bring, so these guys aren't going to come back at the next meeting. James isn't, I won't have him come back either. I'll add this, just the landscaping portion of this to the next meeting. You guys, if you
So we
have
can-
comments, I need them
get back to
before,
it.
1 week
Yeah,
before.
I think that's best.
And then we'll put it on the agenda. Then that way you guys, because I've got to work through the contractual
And for
stuff.
us, I just really wanted to think about if we know the type of planting, the location of planting, and how can the planting not only beautify Griffin, also aid with the current issues that we have and not mimic the issues that we also have, right? So I guess those are the main 4 things that we could be looking at.
Those were the same comments provided to our, to RWA.
I
and the
just want to
team?
make sure we're very clear.
We'll say them again.
Okay.
Say it for those in the back. Okay, we will bring back the planting portion of
Thank
this,
you.
but we're going to proceed to 100% with the irrigation.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, James.
You're welcome.
This falls,
Do you guys want to stay for the? Okay, Chris, you're going to stay. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Maybe the board can move it up on the agenda also.
Tony, this
After
falls,
recess.
which silo does this fall in? It falls in
Roadway,
roadway, doesn't it?
yes.
What I would suggest, Madam Chair, is if the board take the 5-minute recess now.
This is
Okay.
Review,
detailed.
determine, that
All
way
right.
Chris and Chris don't have to,
So that's okay.
unless you
So,
want to stick around until 6 for a public hearing.
so, no, that's fine.
I thought the public hearing was at
Okay,
5.
five.
I'm just- No, I'm saying maybe it won't last long.
Okay, so what do we have on
G.
admin?
We're
So
to G
let's
now.
take 5-minute,
I would suggest
let's take a
this.
5-minute break so we can read this.
Well,
Chelsea
G's
can-
gotta be in the public.
Chelsea can talk to us if we, as needed, and then we'll come back. So let's take a
What are
5-minute
we
recess.
reading this
Unmuting us. We are live.
Okay.
All right, so it's 5 o'clock. Let's go ahead and reconvene. And then the first item that we're going to take up in consideration will be 11G. So Tony wanted Tony to talk.
So this isn't the public hearing yet.
No, not yet.
Okay.
This is the termination,
The mutual agreement.
mutual termination.
11G.
So everybody had a time to read this and then talk to Chelsea if they wanted to eat the cookies. Tony, go ahead.
General overview.
Yeah, on this, we have, again, there's a professional services agreement entered into back in May of 2024
That's the one I
between
just
the
printed.
district and
that
RWA for certain landscape architectural services. And
That's the one they have in their.
RWA is not being acquired by Kimley Horn, but its personnel are all going over to Kimley Horn. That's correct, Chris? And so that RWA will no longer be, as an entity, providing these types of services. And so we initially talked about another arrangement, an assignment of the contract from RWA to Kimley Horn. We ran into some issues with that among the parties last Friday on a telephone call. The consensus was reached to have a termination of the agreement. And so I prepared the termination agreement, circulated, received comments back from the parties, the council for the Kimley Horn. And Chris, I understand, is comfortable with the contents of it. And rereading, there are a couple of nits that need to be addressed, and as well as changing the date of the deliverables, give RWA a bit more time than March 20th, because there are a number of items they need to get. They need to sort of square up with James McCord and also get the documents together. So the action, obviously we'll have discussion and questions by the board of us, Chelsea and myself, with regards to this, but the idea is to have a mutual termination. The district would pay for all work completed through March 13th of 2026. That's properly completed upon receipt of proper invoices. The district would get all the plans to use as we wish. And then there are certain provisions that survive closing. And again, there's one or two little nits that I need to clean up that are, for example, RWA is not going to be doing the permitting. So there was a mistake on reference to including that section in there. And there are some surviving provisions. And so it's recommended that, because it's through the 90% set of plans, that's it, under this agreement, that the termination agreement be approved by the board, subject to Chelsea and I making some, I'll call it scrivener error corrections to it, and also modifying the date of delivery.
Do we just want to do the date of delivery the 31st of this month, the last day of the month?
If that works for Chris, Chris mentioned that he needs to get, for that to happen, he may need some additional documents from James.
I think that's doable, and I think if we can work towards that, it'd be great. I've already let James know that I'd like to have any of his final invoices by the 20th. So usually once we get his stuff, it'll take a week or two to prepare. Plus, we've got some files laying all around between James working on it, us working on it. I want to make sure we can pull them all together in a cohesive fashion and be able to transmit that back to Chelsea and her team.
So the 31st is a good date for you?
I think that's a good target date.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Tony, what is the motion that you,
The appropriate motion would be for the board to authorize the chair to execute a mutual termination agreement between the district and RWA Inc. Regarding contract number RFQ-24-08-PW with the revisions to the deliverable dates to March 31st for the documents and other materials, and also cleaning up some scrivener's errors, like making sure RWA is not tasked with continuing to do permitting.
I so move.
second?
Do I have a motion and a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, motion passes. So we'll sign that. Thank you.
Likewise. Okay.
Just want to make some edit changes tomorrow and circulate around.
Yep, we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll go ahead and move to 11C.
What happened to all the staff gauges we had?
Well, I don't think we use the gauges.
Were they maintained?
They're like yardsticks. You know, I mean, my eyes tell me when the pond is down and my eyes tell me when they're overflowing.
But we had those for having a recordation of what the elevations and the change.
data.
It ain't worth $60,000 to me. It's not worth $60,000.
I don't know how many there are, that's the issue.
Well, this is asking for about 17, I think.
But
Flavia, you want me to brief the item?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. So
I can too if you want, but go ahead.
go ahead, please. So ultimately, this project started when Nathan was here and when Daniel were here. We have weirs throughout the districts, we have locations, we have key points that we would like to have monitored and better tracking of where the water levels are. Top of mind comes back here, Daniel's Preserve, where it comes through the 84s, and it ended up curtails around the system. We know we've had flooding issues back here. Ultimately, when we started this endeavor, we quickly realized that in order to put these at the correct marks, benchmarks were needed. And so that ate up what we thought was going to be the total cost of the project. And so we went to the ponds subcommittee. We took this item before we solicited the ITQ to the ponds subcommittee. It was not a full consensus on it, but the majority of the ponds subcommittee for Pelican did vote to proceed with this. So we solicited this ITQ. We had one bidder, which is High Sites, which has been the historical vendor of of maintenance and of the gauges that we have, the technology, the equipment. Ultimately, Gateway's portion would be about 23.5 and Pelican's would be about a little over 17,000. There would be shared cost because of the new methodology where the flowways, where we would have these staff gauges along the flowways, and that's approximately 19K. We don't have the budget for it. We're bringing it in front of you in the event that you want to proceed with these. We would need a funding source. We can reject the quote from High Sites and put it in next fiscal year's budget. Staff does recommend proceeding with these. I do believe that we agree that they do provide value, even if it's, only a handful of times a year, if it's as we're exercising the weirs in the event of an impending storm. For historical data, when we're trying to approach South Florida Water Management District of flooding occurrences and saying, hey, you need to address a global issue. But we're open to whatever you recommend.
Where are the 9 now?
Do we have the maps?
We know we got them at all the weirs. We got it on the weirs, but
I know at least have one.
One, right?
well, we got one at each one of the
Last
weirs,
page.
so that's 5. So where's the other 4? You got one over there on the second,
374 is the page number. There it is.
oh, there you go. Okay. That's where they're at right now, the 9. Why'd we switch? Back to the,
Where is it?
added, what happened?
It's on that
Yeah,
one.
blow that
So
up
the
there.
first 9 are the existing staff gauges.
What's Lake 114
Right
pool?
to the pool, that big one, but between the pool
Okay,
and Eagle
okay,
Point.
okay, gotcha. Timber Creek Outfall East, where's that?
That's the one Chelsea was just mentioning right here by the FPNL easement.
Blue ones are all PP, right?
Yes, those are all those are 5 new ones and they're in Pelican.
Oops, sorry. I didn't mean for it to go all the way.
Well, we don't have these right now, correct?
We have the yellow ones.
Pelican, that is correct.
The yellow and then 2 of the green, the first 2 green ones.
All the yellow and then the first 2 green are existing.
Are existing. And then from 10 on down, we do not have them.
Correct.
Okay, so I would like to have this as part of our budget discussions.
I'd like to know what value we gain out of this. I was serious when I said, we know when we're full, when the ponds are at their max level, and we got a storm coming, we react to that. There's nothing we can do when it's low. We're never going to put water in the ponds.
I do see a benefit between 10 and 11, because prior to coming in here, I don't know if you recall, even the water quality, I was going out there and testing it because we had no data. We only had data on ponds. So I remember Al and I literally were going back there because that's prior to the community being built. And we wanted to know what impacts that was going to cause to us because they were being built and we just didn't know. And I will tell you, this flooded like way more than what we thought is flooded. Not only flooded, because it's like right back here, not only flooded here, then it flooded
12
back
Daniels
on
Preserve,
12.
12 Daniels Preserve.
Yeah,
Lake
79, no, yeah, yes,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Well, early
So I-
on,
so
you
I-
know,
Yeah, so I would say, no, but it was still having, like, I would say if anything, like, those definitely needed to be added.
well, 13 years ago is when we put our first staff gauges in. And as you said, they have deteriorated because we didn't use them. I mean, it's nice, it's a piece of information, but we didn't record it, and your eyes tell you what you need to know. But to spend $60,000 on this is
It's not
unconscionable.
recorded?
Or was there
No,
a
it
reason
wasn't
why?
then.
Oh, well.
We do record
So-
it here.
What do you do
Does
with the
the
data?
county require, if we, like when we made the last adjustments to the weirs, does the county require you to supply, let's say, that type of data, flow data?
It's data that can help your case with South Florida Water
Yeah,
Management
I think
District.
what.
But the only
Bob
time
says,
you're
I'm
ever
trying
gonna do
figure
it-
out what.
Yeah, the only time you're ever
value-
going to do it, Doug, is
what's
when
the
you're
difference?
high, never low.
Is are the ones, the 9 we have, or at least the ones that are on the fixed weirs on the fixed gauges on the weirs, aren't they operable?
No, they're in poor condition and at their end of their useful life, so they do need to be replaced.
When did we put those in? That was what, 5 years ago?
5 or 6.
5, 6 years
Yeah.
ago?
Has it been that long? I'm not even sure it's that long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sounds
it
about
The
right.
has.
average life is about 10 to 15 if you maintain them, and I think it was an
Actually,
issue
no,
of maintenance.
2018, I think they went up.
2018?
2018,
Schumacher was here.
That'd be 8 years.
yeah. Because that's when Magnolia went up and that's when Stony Brook got theirs. Yeah.
Well, at the weirs, you've got to have that data. You don't have
Well, Ed,
nothing without that
okay,
data. You don't
why
know
do you
what's
need the
going on.
data at the weir? The weir is fixed.
So you know,
So if it drops down, what does the data do you
the
any
weir
good?
is fixed, but the water level over the weir varies, and you don't
And you
have
can't
anything
control that
to
either.
be able to control.
You
It's
can't
not to
control it.
It's to be knowledgeable of it when you know what the water level is, to be able to say, hey, our maximum rate of flow was this with this rain event or whatever.
It
You don't
didn't
have
meet or-
anything
or-
without that
yeah.
data. You can't do
The only
anything.
time the data means anything is if you're at, say, a max elevation and you drop it down 2 feet and you count how much water, you measure how much water you dropped in the community.
And
That has value.
I'd make the motion then we proceed with 1 through 12 and skip 13 through 17.
I'll second your motion for discussion.
How much are they per, what are we
Development
paying?
preserve
Tells you
that
the
we want
price.
to have in.
That's
Price
fine.
is good.
My
We
only
don't need
question
them.
that I have is
Oh, I see.
why is it the cost for 10, 11, and 12
Price variance?
like double?
Yeah, why is there price variance?
Is it because we have no electricity, but I believe there were solar?
There's no existing infrastructure right now, so the additional cost is the additional infrastructure to put the staff gauge on it.
Which would be,
Okay, and there's no weir there, right?
Which I think it's a 4-inch. What we're looking is that a galvanized pipe to be installed to where we can hang the staff gauge on it.
Okay, but 10,
It's
11,
part
and
of the
12, we have
structure.
no control, no weir, right?
It's the
just gonna
structure
be
that
sheet
holds the
flow.
gauge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, it's the structure, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you
The
can't
structure that holds
control
the
it.
gauge. There's nothing existing right now.
I don't know the cost of things. I just was questioning why is it double?
It's $5,200 per each for the 3.
Is there anybody else that bids on this stuff?
This was the only one, and this one is what I would recommend, as Chelsea stated. They do work for us. They're an existing vendor, and they do great work for the district, so.
Well, I was trying to determine, is this price competitive?
We're averaging about $3,500, which I think originally we were estimating $4,000 per staff gauge. So we're below the original estimate.
When you take the total?
When you take the total, yes, when you take all 17.
So an alternative, what we could do is
You
if
can
you,
do this in-house.
not with setting the actual gauges themselves, if it's like putting the pole in, I'm sure we could probably consider that. But I mean,
I'm just,
These
I'm
are-
not gonna, $4,000, $6,000 on this.
These are recording gauges, correct?
Yes, so the challenge for staff to be able to do this kind of work is how do we calibrate it? We
No,
don't
no,
have.
no, it's,
Right.
I got it. I got your answer.
So-
I accepted it. No.
What we can do, so here's a couple options. If you wanted to do just the replacements now, we can do those. And you can put the new ones for next fiscal year and we can budget it. We can send the blue ones to the pond subcommittee. Again, they voted to proceed with
They
this.
did.
Yes.
But we have not taken this back to the pond subcommittee. So if you want to continue with your motion and push the blue back to ponds and let them make a decision on their side.
So, okay, wait.
But keep in mind.
So Pelican Ponds, it's in line with having the blue. It's a go-ahead for them.
The majority, when they voted on the initial
It
concept of
wasn't
this.
unanimous, but they did
Yes,
vote
but they
yes.
did, they have,
I don't care
I know.
how unanimous.
I know.
4-1 would do for me, 3-2
Yep.
would do for me, 2-1 will do for me.
they have not seen the results of the bids yet.
It was just a topic.
They voted to move ahead without seeing the cost.
The money.
We'll just do it that way.
So that's why I'd like the last 1, 2, 3,
So
5
let's give
to be
them,
considered during budgeting.
fine, so we have I'm fine with that.
The yellow ones are a shared cost between
Because of the-
Pelican.
because of the
and-
location.
I still haven't heard, and it might be alone, what is the value? I don't know what the value is. That's different than what my eyes tell me when I look at it. If you can't react to it,
But
what
you
good
can't-
is the data?
Okay, with all the respect, you don't get to call the government agency and say, with my eyes, I get to see and I need that.
What do you mean? That's exactly what we do. When we are full, this is exactly what we do for all of you. When we're at high level and we know a storm's coming, we lower it.
Wait,
Okay.
that is not, well, I don't want to hear that.
I've
'cause we're not-
simplified it.
No, so that, we're not, so, no. So that, if we're doing that, then that should stop.
That's what we did.
No, we don't have the ability to go out there and look at it and say it's too high and just do it on our own. We're not allowed to do that. But that's
Okay,
exactly.
I
what they would do.
simplified it,
No,
but that's
simplifying
exactly
is-
what we did.
If I can help. So on our South Florida Water Management District permit, and you two could probably speak, 3 could probably speak better to this than I can. We have a certain CFS that we cannot exceed. In order to measure that CFS, we have to have something to measure, a tangible, a formula. I'm not saying the entire system, but we have to have staff gauges in order to do that, at least at the existing locations to measure where we're at and how we're going.
Where it's coming from.
I was going to say, I think it's important because there's been concerns in the past about Timber Creek.
Yes.
And
so-
that's why I wanted
and
to add
there's a
those.
maximum CFS discharge
Correct.
in the South Florida permit that Timber Creek has to come into the district system, correct?
And
Wait, one
correct.
second. If we exceed that CFS, what's the
Ramifications.
what's the negative impact?
So we would go to South Florida Water Management District because we don't have control beyond our district bounds of permits. And this is kind of leading into my point. If you recall, within the last month, we got a public notice of Jared Hull's Trust at the corner of 82 and Daniels. That is a major development that's going to be coming. My concern is I have no way of measuring what, if any, how much stormwater
Impact that's gonna
drainage
have to
that's
us.
going to be to our
And that's a
system.
little
Runoff.
different. And we've had concerns about that area
Yes.
that, because in their engineering plans, they're saying the water's going to flow one way and we're saying
It didn't happen.
that's not, yeah, right.
Okay.
So in order for us to measure, push back, hold accountable, we have to have a measurement tool that's more than the eyeball test.
And 2 things, part of
And
that,
they give
one
us a
is
history.
for existing permits,
I'm all
like
for
Timber Creek that has maximum discharges. If it exceeds it, we can go to South Florida and say, hey, you need to tell them to take remedial actions. And what Chelsea's saying in a proactive portion, if there's a permanent applicant in the door and their engineer saying, here's the discharge in the gateway or other areas. And we can't just say, we disagree. We have to have articulatable, objective
And-
data.
And are there fines if you exceed your?
That is a South
South
Florida enforcement action on their part,
Not us.
but if they need,
So
Okay.
They need to take, in other words, they may need to retrofit their system arguably, let's just say.
And we do know, like, I know I talked to you this on a side note, they are going through some stuff at Timber Creek CDD, And one of their topics brought up by their own district and by their own HOA and all, it is that they're having issues with stormwater, drain, flooding, and all that, because they don't not believe that without saying it, they're having issues. So, and they're fighting on their own. So if we think they are, they also think they are.
Yeah, and again, one thing, if you're going to do a permit challenge, or you need to have objective criteria, data, in order to say, you can't just make bald assertions, if you want to go to an administrative hearing.
Yeah, I'd say if we're going to approve it, let's make sure we're using the data.
Well, the big thing on that Timber Creek is that we need to be collecting the data to be able to know what we've got when they start doing this stuff, that we've got, hey, this is what we've got, and this is the data. You guys, it's bogus what you're telling us. We need that. We don't have that right now.
And
They don't even be able to tell you anything, because given the much, they have zero knowledge.
They don't care.
It's not even,
giving it to us.
it's not that they don't care, Ed. I would say they care. They have zero knowledge of what a CDD is, what a district, what the responsibilities are, who is doing what. They just truly do not know. There is not one person on neither of those two bodies that can tell you anything.
This is a Timber Creek.
Yes.
So Bob, another, I think, added benefit could be,
Very
so let's use Pond 38 as a perfect
That's a
example.
perfect one. That's what I was going to bring up.
Yes.
Because Mr. Ed and I went out there and we got tons of water from Plantation.
Correct.
There's no permit for us to get it, but it was pouring in like,
But that is a prime example of had we had a staff gauge in place, we could have measured the water at that point. We could have, on a grant funding side of things, we could have used that data during that time span and said, we received X amount of footage flooding in this. There was property damage back in Irma. So that would only build our case for applying for grant funding by having these resources and information available. So although right now it seems like a large amount of money, and I'm not trying to persuade you one way or the other, but I think in the bigger scheme of things, if this benefits us in a damages, if it's through additional flooding, taking additional water from other outside of our district bounds, or even on pursuing grant funding, you'll see a return. I truly believe that.
and I truly don't.
Okay, so any more discussions? No, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. So we have
Okay,
a
wait a
motion.
minute, please restate the motion.
I was gonna say, we have a motion and a second to approve the replacement and new installation of line items 1 through 12. No.
Yeah, that's what it
Yes, 1
was.
through 12. You moved it, so
Where'd it go?
which
Jumped
included,
all on its own.
which included 9 existing, and then
Item is a D.
everything except Pelican Preserve.
Yeah. And that was going to be deferred until budget.
Budget.
Okay. Yeah, 1 through 12.
So 1 through 12,
12.
and then are you pushing 13 through 17 back to the pond subcommittee?
Yes.
Or for budgeting,
Both.
that it be
Now that we
included
have the
with their
dollars.
discussions on budgeting.
Now that the dollars are available for them to make a
So
decision.
either way it goes, it's the decision on the Pelican Preserve is
Yeah.
at a budget level.
Yes.
So we'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Right, 4-1.
What now?
So now the amount of money is not 59,000. It'll be the cume of the green and the,
19 plus 23.
Girl Scout Lane Lift
Yeah,
Station.
40-something.
Is there anything we need to do there?
No, this was, you asked for
missed
a follow-up, and I just wanted to let you know, we think we've come up with a viable solution without an additional
the
easement.
easement. Okay,
Yes.
good.
So this was just,
FYI.
yeah, you asked us to bring it back, so this was us
Oh,
following
that was
through.
that church thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes, okay.
So it can be
So
done.
no action on your part, just FYI,
Okay.
okay?
Wait, did we skip D?
yeah, we did, D.
You asked for that to get
We moved on to
moved.
15B.
D
Yes.
moved down
Oh,
to
okay,
15.
sorry. I didn't write it.
Go to F.
F.
And nothing on the Girl Scout. Okay.
Correct. No action needed. All right.
F.
F. Okay, sponsorship program. Before I start, I have to give kudos to Randy for putting all of this together.
Whoever did it did a great job.
Wholeheartedly agree. We spent weeks on this back and forth. crunched the numbers. Ultimately, I'm just hoping what I get from you today is an approval of this package and the authority to go hustle. Thank you, Tony.
Are these numbers annual numbers?
Everything, let me put,
Smoking something. You're not gonna get those kind of numbers at all. No way.
I'm going to be the positive Polly, and I'm going to be optimistic, shoot for the stars. Again, that's part of the authorization to go out and negotiate. I'll give you a perfect example. One idea or concept could be services in lieu, right? So if we had a palm tree trimming vendor that we have our palm trees trimmed every year, and those services typically cost us $100K, and they were willing to put their name on the commons for that services to be at zero cost to the district, that is a savings to the district. Although it's not Parks and Rec savings, it is a savings to the district. So that's why I really don't want any parameters on the negotiations, because I don't want to push people away. But this was our first stab. We're all ears if you have adjustments that you'd like to see us tweak or change. But regardless, any conversations, negotiations, any proposals, I will bring back in front of this board for your consideration.
And be creative. There's things out there we don't even see that they might love.
Yes.
Well, it's a good starting point. I think you
I think so too.
you need to have a starting point, because you don't know what is going to interest businesses. May seem high, in some areas, but it may be completely acceptable to others. So you just never know. I mean,
Galloway Ford may want to sponsor something.
but you never know. So I'd say you're going to have some fluctuation with your amounts. You're going to negotiate through that. That's almost every sponsorship or brand deal I've done it's never been what the face value was. There's always been some push and pull and different things in the negotiation piece. So I'd say I make a motion to approve the sponsorship agreement as written, with the ability to, how do you want to put this, Joseph, with the ability to
Customize it.
With the authority for the manager to negotiate and come back to the board for approval.
Yeah.
That's what he said. And I second it.
I have a
Question.
motion and a
Question.
second, and then discussion. Go ahead, Ed.
Tony, do we have any illegality issues on this?
Well, the only thing we should have some parameters, I guess, as to what that's really primarily it. What type of services would the district not want to have out there?
Is it that what you're asking, or is it the legality of having the vendor give us the bid? Is it, what do you want?
The
Because I was
legality-
concerned, I was
the
concerned
legality,
about.
can we do,
Donating services
the
for
legality, can
sponsorship.
we do it?
No, if they want to exchange consideration,
Case by case basis.
Every deal has to be approved. So
Case by case.
It's appropriate consideration if they donate their services to trim. And the only question is if they are a current vendor doing that.
That was
As
my
opposed to
question.
some other vendor that's someplace else in the county.
The problem is, the example Chelsea used is that if one does it, let's say it's a tree trimmer, and we go out for bids the next year, how do you handle that?
Yeah, that's the issue is.
Well, if you go out for bids the next year and somebody comes in at 70,000 and the current supplier's at 100, he's got to drop it to 70.
One thing I found though
No,
is.
I don't think that's what I asked.
Well, but
We don't want it to the community to think that we're awarding a bid for somebody that give us a sponsorship or something, because there are
But
times
we're
that
not.
we're very close. Like,
As long as it's competitive, we're not.
yeah,
But
we're
okay.
not, we know we're not.
That's a trade agreement.
Yeah.
If they pay for the sponsorship, in my opinion, it's not a problem.
Okay.
Okay,
That's all I
but
need
if
to
it's
know.
donation of services, it may become a little more interesting.
Okay.
But if they pay for, good example is I look at like FGCU. They have a number of large contractors that bid on all their multi-million-dollar buildings. And a lot of those contractors are sponsors of various athletic programs,
We'll call them.
Yeah.
FGCU.
I need the
Well,
number.
another thing that, what you
Tony
run
told me.
into on these
I've got
type of
some names.
stuff is, do you want sponsorships for, let's say, political affiliations? So do we want pickleball court
I
two
think
to be sponsored
there.
by Vote for Ed Tinkle, seat, whatever.
I think you just walked into Never Never Land there. Yeah, you can't do that.
Regardless, it's gonna come back in
To the
front of this
manager.
board.
Yeah, that's my point. Everything will come back to the
And
board.
depending upon what's found out there, we may need to adopt more, I'll call it more parameters from a policy perspective as to what's acceptable.
Okay, so we got a motion and a
Let's
second.
start.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Unanimous.
And thank Randy for us.
Those banners we provide. We have banners at some schools in Cuyahoga County.
Morgan and Tony.
Oh, no.
First thing I do
Excuse
is
me, I
I
need to
get-
use the restroom.
First thing I do is get this out on the street to the people here and the businesses here in this community to make sure that they're aware that this opportunity
Give it to
exists.
them first, too,
That's-
yeah.
Them first.
And then another thing, this is something that we absolutely should be partnering with News Station.
Oh,
Wink.
100%.
This is, I mean, Wink is right here, we are their home.
Yep.
I mean,
I just needed your blessing today, so we will hit the ground running.
all right.
Thank you.
And even what I'm talking about, not just having a communication, having them partner with going live stream, you know what I mean, with this,
Yeah,
like helping us
course.
with it. Okay.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we want to do the public hearing next? And then finish up with the manager's report, attorney's report, future board stuff, all that after the public hearing?
There's no public.
Well,
You still have to hold it.
you do. Is it, how is it noticed? Is it
It's
immediately
noticed
after?
as 5 PM
immediately-
or soon thereafter as possible, but bear with me.
I'm fine with that.
I probably have a hard stop at 6, or at least I
Okay.
got
At
to
5
transition to the phone.
5
so-
PM or soon thereafter as possible. That's how we typically do that to provide flexibility.
I think let's do that since Doug may have to leave. So
I have to leave by 6.
So let's do the public hearing now.
Madam Chair, as a preface to that, in the agenda book, there are 3 affidavits of publication, actually 4, because one was run twice with a little bit different language on the same day. But, so it goes back in time to January 2nd, notice of rule development. Then we had the notice of rule development, notice of public workshop for rule development. We have 2 of those. Then we have the notice of rulemaking and the public hearing for today. So that complies with the requirements of chapter 190 and 120 with regards to the processes. And we have in the agenda book the proposed, we have a resolution that the board finds the parking rules and regulations acceptable, would adopt those parking rules, those rules and regulations as Rule 7 of the district's rules of procedure. Attached at the back of those rules is a graphic indicating what the parking facilities that are right now subject to would be subject to the parking rules if the board was to so adopt this, the rules. And the opportunity would be now to open up for public hearing, see if there's any public comment.
So go ahead and, do we have any public comment on this agenda item?
Madam Chair, if you can say, open the public hearing.
Okay, go ahead and open the public hearing.
Thank you.
And now do we have any comments on the agenda item on the public hearing?
Nobody signed up. I have nothing
Nothing?
online and nothing in email.
Have you ever received faxes, emails, letters?
I did not.
On this matter?
I did not.
Did we receive requests for estimated regulatory costs?
Did not.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you got 99.9% of the community don't have a clue what the hell we're doing.
All right,
I move the public hearing be closed.
A second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Discussion with the board or motion is appropriate.
All right, anybody who has any questions regarding this?
This is unlimited for district area, correct?
No, it's
It cannot-
limited,
No exclusions?
no, it's limited to the areas that's noted on the map.
Yeah,
Okay,
maps.
pull that up.
These are the
What I was
parking,
getting to, I've got
That was weird.
madness here. I'm looking at West Links Drive, down there in that area.
yeah, that's different than, these are parking facilities where we're going to charge for parking.
But we can determine that we're not, I mean, we can change this,
Yes.
correct? We're just giving this a capability to
If we so
charge for
choose.
parking
If we so choose, right?
Yes, at these locations. Well, right,
at these locations. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to in these locations.
well, right now it says that
It's basically park generated right now.
that's correct. That's why
Yeah.
it's geared towards recreational facilities. And right now, there is a fee schedule. The initial fee schedule is $2 per hour. So there is a charge and it becomes effective.
So we got 3 places right now that we're considering.
But that price could be changed at any time.
After a public hearing
By
by
a
the
public
board.
hearing to
and
adopt a
notice.
new price fee
Right.
schedule. So
Yes.
usually we'll do it once a year during the fee schedule.
The board has an ability to do that, but right now we don't have that tier of fees, but we could do that in the future.
Okay, so if we do this and we open up the new park, or anybody going to the pool, they're now going to have to pay to park to go to the pool.
Unless you're a resident, you get an annual parking pass free.
Or unless you're gonna go to the unless you're gonna go to the parking that's for the Adamant facility, right?
Well, it's not going to cost residents a thing. They get a free
This-
pass.
That's correct, under paragraph.
Did we ever decide that this does not apply to gateway owners?
That's a resident, right?
Yeah, paragraph 6 says, the initial parking fee schedule is $2 per hour. Then it goes, gateway residents will be issued an annual parking permit. Residents-
Okay, so
That's correct, free of charge.
So if you're a resident, if you're a gateway resident, you don't have,
That
you don't
includes,
pay.
that includes.
But that does not mean, that is a gateway resident, that does not say a gateway business owner or right, it's, you have to own a home.
Or be a resident.
Or be a
Right.
resident.
Yes, correct. Then you go on
Because a
to,
resident, because a tenant is still paying because the homeowner of that
not
property
paying on
is
their behalf.
paying.
Yeah.
So they're getting it too.
yeah, in the
If you
paragraph 7.
geographically live in the gateway, you're good.
Yeah, paragraph
So the owner-
7.
The owner of a unit that's being leased, he gets in, but his tenant does not.
No,
One or the other.
the tenant will get it because the homeowner, the owner of it is paying taxes to us.
The owner may no longer be a resident.
So exactly, so the owner, if the owner does not reside here, then no. So if
And he's not going to need it.
So if I
So
have a
the
house,
tenant
no,
gets it.
but if I have a house in Magnolia Lakes and I'm renting it out, I'm not a resident there. I'm an owner, but I'm not a resident. So I don't get it, the tenant gets it, you know?
And if you're renting it out, you don't want it. You're not here.
You're not here, exactly. Right, any other discussion?
Call for vote.
Well, I have to make a we have to make a
Wait a
motion
minute,
first and a
what if,
second.
what if
and then we have to
someone,
back-
so here's just a hypothetical. So the folks that are running our leagues or working for our leagues, refs and that
Yep.
type of stuff, when they come, if they don't live there, they have to, we're
Right.
charging them to park.
Right.
Okay.
I move to adopt Resolution 2026-08, Chapter 7 of the district rules.
I'll go ahead and second your motion. There's no more discussion. I think, right, we'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? All right.
And what we can do in the other part is, it can be, we can clarify tollway zones. We can expand to the areas you're talking about, in addition to having law enforcement ticket.
When you say a permit, are we talking about, we're thinking about issuing a sticker or something?
No, it's not a sticker.
It'll just be in the app?
No, it'll be in the app, the tag, it'll be associated to your plate, and so they can either call in to Premium Parking and Premium Parking can help verify it and set up their account. You can go online and set up your account,
Register your own tag.
or you can come in to the office and we can help you.
Is there any cap on number of vehicles per resident?
Prove a gateway, you have to
No,
prove that
right?
you're a
Go ahead,
gateway.
you can come to the
Come on,
podium.
Just identify yourself,
No,
Aaron.
we did not put a cap on it.
This is Baron Steckler with Premium Parking. There is no cap for the permit. We have 11,000 with Lee County right now.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying,
You
I'm
have
a
4
resident.
cars.
I have 4 boys and,
That's up for you.
Yeah,
You
so
get to
we-
decide that. I mean, we can have 3 vehicles per
okay,
resident.
I just want to make sure that we weren't,
Owner's an owner.
yeah.
Yeah, again, a good example of that is in Collier County, if you're a Collier County resident, you get a free beach parking pass. If you have 4 vehicles, you can get 4 beach parking passes. Now, it goes with a car.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to get into that.
It will apply to golf carts too, if somebody comes from the golf
Owner's an
cart.
owner.
Yes,
We can determine how many vehicles each of the free permits would get.
the golf cart is defined as a vehicle.
Okay, good.
And as far as
15B.
signage and any of that stuff, are we responsible?
No, they are.
Premium Parking will be doing that.
That's next.
We have 0 capital costs for this.
And installation.
I do have one question, side, not necessarily for you. You had a chance to reach out to the school again to see if they wanted to enroll in this? Because we, like Doug had mentioned, like we don't want to also overfull on their facility. I just noticed that the gate's been open a lot and about 30 to 60% of the parking lots being utilized. They're still choosing to go around the lake. So I wondered if the school had any feedback. Do they want to jump in and do the same thing at the same time or
Haven't
nothing?
heard a peep back from them.
Is it a
So-
private school?
No, it's
The
public.
gateway, the elementary, you know what I mean?
It's public.
Is it a private or
No, it's
public?
public.
No, it's public. But because they open up their gates to allow us
For
for
us.
overflow, so I'm afraid that because we're charging it, now they're technically gonna have a lot of overflow, and they're gonna say, hey, hold on.
If somebody else, a
But I
county
just-
resident, supports
But
that
I
school?
just wanted to make it
Okay.
available for
It
you,
doesn't-
or maybe you guys could reach out to the school directly. We can
Okay,
pass
but
on the
here's
contact.
a question.
So they're piggybacking.
Wait,
They
wait.
could, you know, why
So,
not?
but during that time period, that part is, I'm not going to say it's under our jurisdiction, but